All right, welcome everybody to the Krueg Show. This is Dan Coccimilgio, and on my left is Ryan Smith. Wow, we got a tough one tonight, guys. Tough one to talk about, as we're going to let it fly. Ryan and I didn't even talk in the pregame stuff. We're just holding our energy in because we got a lot to say tonight about this tough Giants loss. And Larry will be joining us shortly. He'll be here in about 20 minutes. So the master of the show, Larry Krueger, he'll be here shortly. So we didn't want to make you guys wait any longer. So we're here after a tough 4-3 Giants loss. And I tweeted out texted some stuff to you, Rye and Larry, what I'm going to share. So I don't know what you've got on your mind. So let her rip.
Well, originally, this one hurts extra because I thought I was going to come in here so positive. That's why I'm wearing my Giants jersey. I even cut together this little clip from last night's show. I was thinking I was being a little Nostradamus-y, if you want to hear this real quick.
Right. Before we hear one more monster slam from the man himself and bolt for the door, give me your final thought.
Yeah, if Rodon can shove again versus this Braves lineup, I'm going to start feeling really good about this Giants season, because from the beginning, it's been all about if Webb and Rodon if we can have basically two aces on our staff, that's what's going to carry us this season, and that's what's going to take us deep in the playoffs. So I want to see this as a real test for him. He's had two really, really good starts in a row. If Rodon can go out, let's say go 7, have a bunch of strikeouts, 1 earned against this tough Braves lineup. I want you to show me who you are, Rodon. I think you're a Cy Young kind of guy, but you got to show me.
I got it right. 7 innings, a bunch of strikeouts, 1 run. And that was probably his best start of the season, honestly. You know, taking everything into account, the fact it was 95 degrees, the fact he had a no-hitter. Basically, I mean, honestly, the first 2 hits he allowed were,
they're blue.
Little hits. So
broken bat, the first one.
And then
he pitched great.
Dan, before I give you the stage to just vent your frustrations, I also will say it seemed like we were speaking a few things into existence. That I think was spoken into existence, but also there may have just been an absolute mushing of last night. I'm pretty sure that it was either yesterday or the day before that you came with the stat that you saw on TBS that the Giants were like 33-0.
Oh, that's right.
Entering the 9th.
It was last night.
Yeah, and then someone in the chat said, something like, "Wow, Tyler Rogers must have not pitched the 9th yet."
Oh yeah.
Just got.
Oh, that's right. Man. We just talked about that last night. 32-0. Rogers was put in a tough situation.
He was.
And I mean, McGee didn't have it. I'm surprised, honestly, as I watched Jake McGee over the last couple of years pitch, that he doesn't get rocked more often, because he's got a 4-seam fastball coming, and it's right around 95 to 97. And he throws it 85, 90% of the time, so guys can get up there and time it. I'm just surprised that he still gets a lot of outs, because, he's pitched great the last 9 outings, hasn't given up any runs in the last 9 outings. And, tonight he just doesn't have it. But I want to talk a little bit about what I think was a critical thing happening in the game tonight. It happened several times, but it happened most at a worst time was in the top of the 9th. Runners on 2nd and 3rd. Austin wins at the plate. He's got a 3-2 count, and the ball is outside the box. It's on the inside part, and Wins being a catcher, he just walks right to first. And the umpire rings him up. And then I watched in the bottom of the 9th, Rogers throw 2 perfect pitches that were strikes that were right there. And he doesn't ring him up. There's no called strike 3, so the count goes to 3-2, which leads to the guy being able to steal second base, Contreras, and then he scores. Now, I'm telling you right now, I'm investigating that home plate umpire, Haddock, whatever his dang name is, Pat Hoberg. Listen, I've watched games before, and I was seriously thinking this guy's got money on it. Either he's got money on this game, or he's got a family member that he's tipped off, or a friend that he's got big money on this, because he's not calling anything for the Giants. Nothing. And every call was going against the Giants and in the Braves' favor to allow. I want robot umps now, because you know what? I never been for robot umps, but there's too much at stake. There's a lot of gambling that goes on now. I mean, you got hundreds of gambling sites. Baseball sponsors it. DraftKings is all over the place. There's gambling for, will they score in the first run? Who in the first inning? Who will get this many strikeouts and this and that? And I'm telling you, you can solve all of it behind the plate with a robot ump. Put that stupid box up there and live by the box, or get rid of the box. I've had it. That's just ridiculous.
What's in the box?
Gosh darn. I mean, how in the world do you call that a freaking ball or a strike on? We had bases loaded and my man was coming up, Slater.
Oh, it was not particularly close either.
It wasn't close. I'm telling you, investigate that guy, wring his neck up. I tell you, give him the waterboard treatment, because he'll confess that he's gambling. I guarantee it.
That was great.
That's my rant. I've been holding this. I'm not even done yet. I'll tell you what. The Giants got screwed about 5 times tonight on calls behind the plate. And I didn't see the Braves getting rung up tonight on anything. They were swinging and missing. The only way the Giants were going to get anybody to strike out was not a called strike, but a swing and miss.
That is true. That is very true tonight. I mean,
that was guy they said was the umpire. He goes by the box and he's the best one or whatever. That's a bunch of bull crap. That guy was awful tonight.
What? God, even Belt. I mean, Belt did allow some, pretty bad calls.
His was called strikes.
His was called strikes. Those were pretty.
They were in the box.
Those were in the box.
Yeah.
That was 3. He had 3 of those, I'm pretty sure his last 3 ABs.
Yeah. I don't know. I've had a lot of things to,
when did you think the Giants were going to lose the game? I was still pretty confident after the first home run.
I feel like, I was still good, 3-2. But when he called those 2 back-to-back balls on Rodgers, the first one was on the corner, and the second one was like, oh my goodness, it's right down the middle, just below the box. And I'm thinking, how do you not call that? I said, okay, it's not. This guy's gonna make sure they lose this ump. I said, and I've never wanted to complain about umps. I've always been against robot umps. But after tonight and watching that and thinking about all the gambling, I didn't have anything on this game. My passion right now is pure. If I did, I'd really be losing it. But my passion is just pure as a Giants fan. I am so ticked at how that cost us. Because if it wasn't for the wins call, I might not even thought about it. But that was going to be bases loaded against Minter right on left. Slater was, Slater's been hitting this couple games now. The umpire, I'm sure he couldn't afford to have Slater come up and hit one out and make it like
could not.
He couldn't afford it, to become a 7-1 game. He's like, there's no way I can make up 6 runs. I can make up at least 2 here.
Oh wait, Dan, what did you think of? All the different closers have their own deal. Right before they come to they start the inning, they all have their own little whatever rituals. Has Jake McGee always had that thing where? Because when I saw it, I got concerned. He had a thing where he was just standing in front of the bump, and his hands, like his eyes were closed, and his hands were on his chest, and it looked like he was like doing some form of prayer. And
I think he does something like that. Yeah, he does some kind of thing that he turns. Yeah.
It didn't look very confident to me. I've seen pretty cool ones where they give some love to the man upstairs. That one looked like, please God, don't let me blow this. That's what I got a little worried. I mean, when he gave up the first home run,
Well, he was up 0-2 to Swanson, and he couldn't close the deal. He threw pitches that were easy takes. So you put Swanson back in a position to be in a hitter's count versus being, you can – when you're 0-2, you can waste one, maybe two, and go 2-2. But you gotta make it honest on a 2-2. Make it, make it somewhat close. Make them, and I hate the 0-2 total waste pitch. Make it like it's going to be a strike, but make it outside the zone so the guy has to chase a little bit. Don't give him an easy take, and then you let the pressure off. I've been in the box before. I hate being down 0-2. His pressure is on you, tightening up a little bit. You're choking up. You're saying, I gotta stay on this. But once you get to 2-2, all of a sudden you start saying, hey, now I know what he's got to come in, And
what do you think of this Romario's comment? When will Kapler show some damn emotion when the umps are blowing it? It is true. You don't really see the Cap man.
It's kind of irritating in that way. One thing I got to say about Dave Roberts, I'm not a, Dave Roberts guy at all, but he does get upset when the umps blow an obvious call, and he'll yell from the dugout. And, most baseball teams do. They'll yell, and it's just that was a pathetic call on Wins. It really did change the whole outcome possibly. We don't know what Slater would have done, but the pressure was on the Braves. They were down 3-1. Bases would have been loaded.
Oh God, they've got a little bit of that. They've got that pixie dust on them. You can kind of see they do not get worried when they're down, and that's what a World Series will do for you.
Yeah,
they get confident. And here's two things. Normally not something I'd complain about, but I will say, doesn't it just feel like if this was last year, Yaz maybe gets to that ball in center, or whoever we had in center field last year, if we had Duggar or whatever. It just seemed like those were, you didn't really see
about the double off Rodon.
The double. I mean, it would have been a really, really tough play, but still, I mean, a great center fielder can make that play. And then the even bigger note is, in addition to the 3 Ks by Belt, all on looking strikes, I think Belt of last year makes that play on the liner first. Because, that really was.
Ozuna, that was
Ozuna tagged up.
Down 0-2 as well. Yeah.
But that would have been 2 outs, and then we got an out right after that. I mean, Ozuna, that was some.
I thought Slater was a little bit lackadaisical on
I agree.
catch.
He's like their slowest guy.
Yeah.
And he got to second.
I mean, he should have. When you don't catch that flat-footed when a guy's on first and that deep. You got to get a little bit further behind it, and you move toward the ball and catch it with some momentum so that your body is taking you towards second. But when you catch it flat-footed, a guy that's tagging up, he'll go or stay depending on the position of the outfielder catching the ball. And then Slater kind of caught the ball, and then he kind of started to just and then all of a sudden he looked and oh crap, he's running, So I didn't think Slater played that well personally. And here's another thing I was thinking about today, just change gears a little bit, but
sure.
I've been thinking about getting more bats in the lineup and more versatility. And, I've been on Longoria, although he did come up with a big hit in the ninth there, which was I was rooting for him. But I was still surprised that, but at least he came through. But, Donovan Solano of Cincinnati, he signed with the Reds, and he's been hurt all year, and now he's back playing. He's coming back to Oracle this weekend as the Reds come in. But you could get that guy for nothing. The Reds are going nowhere, okay? And they don't want to pay him, okay? They don't want to pay Donovan Solano. He's got a 1-year contract, and I think he signed for like $4 million or something like that. So they owe him a couple million. Hey, Cincinnati didn't have any money. They want to save. They got rid of a lot of guys in the offseason. Offer him some cash up and get Solano back in here. Or you could trade your 133rd prospect,
Would you rather Donnie Barrels or LaStella?
I like LaStella against right-handed pitching, but I think Solano could help. You could put him over at second base, Estrado at third, or you could put Donnie could even play a little third. But
Donnie could play a little third.
Yeah, but he's got a stick, and he hits close to 300. And the Giant, I think he would be, he's older, but he's only signed through this year's. What Cincinnati need him for? No, they don't.
They need him to beat the Giants in this upcoming series.
The Reds are, they don't need.
Okay. What about this? Oh, stop. Braves were 0 for 26 when trailing after 8 this season. LOL. Oh my God. So it was just
the Giants were 32-0, 58 game swing.
God damn it. Okay, what do you think about this? This hasn't been something that's been brought up at all, but it just got me thinking. So, today, of course, Duvall couldn't go. He was tired. Had kind of a weird outing last time. Do you think that there's any logic to, because I didn't necessarily think that McGee had bad stuff today. Do you think there's any logic to not wanting to maybe not pitching McGee on Rodon start days? Because it's like Rodon is all about the high fastball and then, the curve and the slider, but primarily it's the high fastball, and it's better than McGee's high fastball, and that's all McGee has.
Yeah, it's all he has. Good point, Ryan.
Yeah, it's basically have 7 innings of it's like having like a donut on your bat, and then all of a sudden, here's the same thing. It's just a little worse, and there's no other pitches to keep you honest.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the guy's been in the big leagues for years. Develop a changeup, okay? I mean, come on. Work at your craft. I got my gummies. I got to have my calcium. Otherwise, my brain's going to fall out tonight, man. I swear. We're on a changeup.
Yeah. I mean,
you got years to work on a nice changeup. I mean, if you got a high fastball and you come up with a changeup, now you're keeping some guys a little more honest.
Yeah.
If you throw that off-speed pitch that flutters in there and, you're lucky he doesn't get it over the plate, because if they're waiting on that thing's gone.
Oh, yeah. By the way, also, Brebbia did a nice job of bouncing back. I think all of our butts collectively puckered when that ball got hit.
I got my head turned. Colorado, and I'll give you some updates just so you guys can.
Actually, I'm interested because my bookie gave me a free play. He texted me. He's in St. Andrews. I don't even know the guy, and he's just a friend of a friend of a friend, and he's in St. Andrews right now. And he randomly texted me. He's like, "Dude, I'm so drunk right now. Like, take us $100 free play, but you could only use it on the hockey game. I'll give you even odds."
So what'd you take?
I took the Avalanche just because he said even odds and they were minus 110, but
it's 2-2.
Yeah,
in overtime. 17 minutes to go in overtime.
What they call a coin flip.
Yeah, it is sudden death overtime. Yeah. So, yeah, I love how hockey actually has some great rules,
Yeah. Because they're just hockey over there. See, that's the thing baseball could really benefit from, because it's like I mean, look, at this point, as far as a national interest is concerned, baseball is closer to the to hockey than it is to the NBA. And then there's a mountain between the NBA and the NFL. But I mean,
Mark Graves says of those relax pills, Dan. Yeah, I probably
get
could
like a CBD sponsorship or something.
Yeah, man, I tell you, man, that just really inflamed me tonight.
So what do you think about Factual Toilet saying Harleen should get some more high leverage innings?
Harleen's pitched well this year.
I like Harleen.
And yeah, he's pitched well. I don't know why we don't see him that often. I mean, they use
it's a pretty factual toilet.
I mean, they use a lot of guys like 4 out of 5 games, and then Harleen pitches 1 every 5 games.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
It is kind of weird. Also, another jinx that we said is like Larry was like, if we had to say the one thing on the Giants team that you trust the most so far, everyone's like, we all agreed that one of the things had to be bullpen depth.
In the bullpen. Yeah.
Yeah. It's brutal. It's brutal.
Oh man. You just can't.
Luckily, I still have a little bit of a buzz left over from the Warriors parade. So, this one's not hitting too hard. Man, if we lose tomorrow, it's going to hit. We can salvage it by winning tomorrow, and I think we can justify it in our heads. Like, well, they wouldn't have given as good of an effort in Game 4 if they lost Game 3, but
they could be up 3-1 or 3-0 in this series.
Dan, does it frustrate you that it seems that this year? I mean, look at Rodon is 6-4, and he's had 5 starts in May alone with a 1.2 ERA. It seems
June.
In May, it must be June.
It must be June because he's pitched really well the last 3 or 4
it is June. It is June.
May he kind of struggled, but
yeah, I was gonna. Wait, what was I gonna say? What was I? I was saying
about Rodon.
Oh, dang it.
Frustrating the team. The team's frustrating.
Doesn't it kind of feel like it's almost like you can understand a little more in basketball? Like, I think, if you grew up playing basketball, you're on teams sometimes where you play down to your competition.
Yeah, exactly.
Competition.
Right.
But it's weird for a baseball team. I guess it's kind of like that thing where, if Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback, your defense is not, it can't be like an unbelievable defense because you always have that thing in the back of your mind. Well, Mahomes will pick us up. Mahomes is going to go score next time down. It seems like we don't hit whenever Rodon and Webb are out there.
I know.
And then we have these offensive explosions.
Yeah.
We're getting caned.
Yeah.
When was the last time Rodon, we scored like 9 runs for him and it was just a comfortable cruising? I mean,
I know. What did he? His last outing,
I think he went 8 innings and no earned.
What was his final on that? That was against Pittsburgh.
It was 2-0. 2-0. Yeah. Let me read his last starts. It was he won the 2-0 one versus Pittsburgh. He won 2-0 versus the Dodgers. He lost 3-5 to the Rockies, 5-6 for the Phillies, 5. Okay, he did have one game where we won 8-5. I mean, but then lost two more losses, 1-5, 1-2. So yeah, I mean, we've been averaging. We're 6-7 in the starts that he's had this year.
I tell you, they're wasting that. They got to make some changes. Another deal I was thinking of today. I would love to get Luis Castillo and Kyle Farmer from the Reds. Kyle Farmer plays shortstop. He can play. You can put him at third, and then. If you had Farmer, you could actually, when they're facing a lefty, you can rest Crawford. You could put Farmer at short, Tyro Estrada at second, and if you picked up Solano for some cash, because I'm telling you, they'll get rid of him for cash or the 133rd prospect. He's not going to demand much at all. He's 34 years old. He's a free agent. You can basically just say, hey, give us Solano, and this is what we're willing to give you. Send him on the next flight. So, or do it this weekend when he's here, right? So, you could have an all right-handed infield, and you could put Ruff at first, then you put Slater in center, and I mean, there's a lot of things they need to do, but they need some right-handed bats, and this team is like going back and forth between 9 games over 500 and 6 games and 8, 7, 6, 9. They reached 10 once, but that's it. They've been all year long. There's no, this team should be right now. What's their record? 38 and 30, 38, 31?
I'm not sure. If you could look it up, that'd be great. Cause I'm currently in the middle of doing a little math.
I'll pull it up right here. Okay. The Giants are 38 and 30. Okay. They played 68 games. They should be 43 and 25. About that. They should be about 43 and 25, 15 over. But they have, blown so many games and lost close games. And if they were sitting at 43 and 25, they would be right there at first place. But now they gave up a game again tonight. So instead of staying 3.5 back and really being more like just after on this road trip, they should be about 2 out, but they're back to 4.5 out. So, and you also lost a key game to a team you're fighting for a wild card spot with right now with Atlanta. So, I said going into this, they got to come out with a minimum of a split. Ideally, they win 3 out of 4. Now we're just got to beg for a split,
Beg. Because now, this would hurt. It would really, really hurt, man.
Yeah, Manny Machado. I like that. He's a member. No, is he? No, he's not a member. Wait, is Manny a member? I don't think so. He just got the green logo there. He's saying Kapler should have let Rodon pitch 8 innings, then bring in Brebria for the 9th. Well, hindsight's 20/20 in that you pay these guys big bucks to close out games, and you hope they can hang on to a 2-run lead. I mean, I thought Rodon might come back in the 8th, but I think he had thrown 93 pitches roughly. Let me see how many pitches Rodon
93, I think.
So, yeah, let me pull up the box right here.
Okay, I knew I was not smoking crazy pill, or I guess I said that wrong. I knew I wasn't taking crazy pills here. Okay, you want to hear this? I arbitrarily took because it's really been Rodon's last 4 starts where he's been cruising. Oh my God, that doesn't even include today. Okay, this is before today because it's not all the way updated on Baseball Reference. So this is not including today, but over the last 8 starts combined, so 4 for Webb, 4 for Rodon.
Yeah.
We're averaging 2.75 runs in those games.
And what's our record?
And we're allowing 1.25 runs a game.
That's pretty good. But what's the record in those last 8 games with?
They are 3-5.
Okay, there you go. That should easily, with that kind of stats, they should be 6-2. I just gave you 3 games of the 5. I said.
But we're actually, Dan, the thing is, we're actually 3-6. I'm going to have to recalculate these because now I didn't include tonight.
Okay, so they're 3-6 in those games when your 1 and 2 guys give up 2. What was it again? 1 point or 2 point?
1.25 earned run the game between those two.
1.25, or that's what we've scored in that?
No, 1.25 is their earned run average for those games. Maybe I should.
Wow. That's all the Giants have given up. Okay.
They've allowed. Oh, sorry. This is how it should be said. In their last 8 starts, they've allowed 10 earned runs combined.
Oh my
goodness.
And
we're 3-5.
Guy just hit a shot in overtime for Colorado.
Who
hit
did
the
it?
Top of the post and rolled over the top of the net. Oh man, it was.
What was today's final score?
4-3.
Hello.
Hey, Larry. Hey, Larry.
Exactly 30 minutes late again. I apologize, fellas.
This is becoming a
How's
problem,
things
right?
going? Has it been a rollicking 30?
Oh, it's been a rollicking 30.
Has anybody been blocked, muted, or joined, or
Not yet. Here, you and Danny. Why don't you and Danny kibitz? Because I came up or found a very interesting trend.
The wind was just
Oh,
howling in. Yastrzemski hits a high drive.
ESPN.
Right field.
Oh, he jumped on me, huh? What a crushing loss for the Giants. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Seriously, 3 in the bottom of the 9th. I mean, that, a lot of disappointing plays in this game. I thought it was interesting, though, that Rodon kind of, the Braves are such a great fastball hitting team. He, at the beginning of the year, was pumping fastball. Tonight, he was throwing a ton of sliders.
Yeah, a lot of sliders. A lot of sliders,
but he's still good. I mean, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, and you lose that game. That's a tough one. This is a tough loss. And then the Slater, I mean, what was that? I mean, he didn't realize the guy was tagging. I mean, that was kind of a weird play in the outfield.
He was not heading the game there. He caught the ball flat-footed on his, kind of going backwards. He needed to go back and then take a step forward, catch it with momentum toward the bag, and he kind of caught it and then
it's like he didn't know the situation. I mean, you gotta assume he's going, right?
You gotta always think that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And
I mean, he's got a good arm. He's a good outfielder. But this, in moments like that, you sit there and go, that's what makes me kind of wonder about him defensively sometimes. He's a really good defensive outfielder. He's gotten a lot better. He's got a terrific arm, but, and he can play center field. But it's like he started as an infielder, and it's like he doesn't quite have center fielder instincts. You know what I mean? He's got tools, and, he's a smart guy, but he doesn't have like the years and years and years of playing center field. And you can kind of tell.
Yeah, the Giants, when you look at the Giants, they don't have, except Duggar, a natural center fielder.
No.
I mean, I think Gonzalez could become that because he seems to have some pretty good wheels, but they don't have, you look at this kid for Atlanta tonight, their center fielder, the range that guy has and the jumps he gets on the ball. I thought Yaz is the youngest
guy in the big leagues, by the way, right now, 21.
Yeah. The ground rule double that he had to go a long ways, but I don't think Yaz has a very good first step. It doesn't seem to like he gets this great jump off the ball. He's always like when he's running, some center fielders look like they're gliding for a ball. Yaz looks like he's in a sprint. It's just
frustrating. And then knowing the Braves crush the fastball, and then you bring in Jake McGee, and
I know this is what we were kind of talking about.
Lair. So I floated this out there. Is we haven't been tracking this or anything, but doesn't it just kind of maybe not seem like the best idea to bring McGee in ball games that Rodon pitched in, because Rodon's bread and butter is that high fastball, and it's better than McGee's. But the thing about Rodon is he has enough stuff to keep you honest, and he was excellent today. But then you bring McGee in, and all of a sudden it's like, well, it's like taking the donut off the bat. Like now you have a lesser fastball, and lesser high fastball, and all he throws is the high fastball. So less movement.
There's a lot of good right-handed hitters in this lineup too. That's the other thing, and there's a lot of power on this team, and there's a lot of teams that can hit a lot of guys in this lineup that can really hit the fastball and pound the fastball. And you bring in a guy that only throws the fastball from the left side, and watch him give up 3 earnings in a third of an inning.
Okay, guys, I have Larry. What the research I was doing is I was talking about. Doesn't it just feel like weirdly with this team, like you can feel it in basketball and in football, where you there's teams that play up or down to their competition. This team weirdly plays up or down to whoever's on the mound, because Webb and Rodon have been dealing. Listen to these stats. In their last 10 starts combined, so that's Webb's last 5 starts, Rodon's last 5 starts. On average, they are allowing 1.4 earned runs per game. 1.4. and they are getting 3 runs per game total of offense. That's unacceptable. We're 4-6 in those games. Like
4-6 or 3-9.
We're 4-6 because I included the Webb one, which we did win 5-4. But so we're 4-6 with these guys allowing 1.4 runs per game.
Should
in
be
their last 10.
Should be 7-3.
Those got to be wins.
Games.
And then you throw Cobb on the mound, and we have 9 runs. Like it's just crazy. It's really weird. And Larry, so we started the whole thing off. I was saying how bummed I was because I thought I was going to be Nostradamus. Listen to this, and it sounded like it was going to be a very joyous post game, and I was going to start it off with this.
Right. Before we hear one more monster slam from the man himself and bolt for the door, give me your final thought.
Yeah, if Rodon can shove again versus this Braves lineup, I'm going to start feeling really good about this Giants season because from the beginning, it's been all about if Webb and Rodon if we can have basically 2 aces on our staff, that's what's going to carry us this season, and that's what's going to take us deep in the playoffs. So I want to see this as a real test for him. He's had 2 really, really good starts in a row. If Rodon can go out, let's say go 7, have a bunch of strikeouts, 1 earned against this tough Braves lineup. I want you to show me who you are, Rodon. I think you're a Cy Young kind of guy, but you got to show me.
And he showed us 7 innings, 1 earned, a bunch of strikeouts, and we still lose it. It's just demoralizing, man.
You got exactly what you wanted. Exactly. Rodon worked 7, gave up 3 hits, only the 1 run, struck out 10, and you still can't get the win. You even get a couple bombs and you can't win because the Giants are the king of the solo shot right now.
Yeah. And then we were talking about how in addition to that prediction being manifested, we also manifested an all-time mush where Dan brought up how the TBS broadcast showed a graphic that the Giants were 32-0 leading into the 9th inning. And then somebody in the chat was like, wait, so has Tyler Rogers never pitched in the 9th this year? And then Smack got, leading 2 into the 9th today. And then Tyler Rogers in a tough spot.
Hey, you won your bet, Rye. The Avs just scored.
I don't mind Tyler Rogers. I don't like him in the 9th.
Yeah.
When all you need to do, or in extras, when you need a strikeout. I mean, he did get a strikeout.
Yeah.
For his 1 out.
You didn't hear me go off on Larry. I lost.
You went off on it, Danny. How much did you? Do we have any highlights of this, or Danny? Can you recreate going off?
I'm shot. I left it all out on the floor.
That's it.
Yeah, his face got very red. He had to take his black spills.
Oh my goodness.
Man.
Dan, by the way, did you rob the Giant dugout store or something? You've got a new Giants shirt and hat literally every day.
No, I've worn.
I feel like I'm talking to Murph right now.
In Murfreesboro. Okay.
He's like
he's got
Mike
a
Murphy. He's like the club. He's like the clubby right now. He just looks like, just a different orange and black outfit.
Hey, I'm gonna let me share.
Dusty Gold. Listen to this one, Larry. Dan pretty much crapped in his pants.
Dan, where would you say that it really was where you started getting going? I'll start right here.
So I don't know what you've got on your mind, so let her rip.
Well,
you'll be here in about 21 to talk about as in the pregame stuff. We're just holding our energy. So the master of the 4-3 Giants loss.
Giants jersey.
Yeah, if Rodon can shove,
it's probably
kind of guy. You got to show me.
5 minutes.
Like, maybe here?
Because he's got a 4-seam fastball coming tonight, 3rd, which leads to the guy being able to steal second.
Here we go.
Tonight, Rogers throw 2 perfect pitches that were strikes that were right there. And he doesn't ring them up. There's no called strike 3, so the count goes to 3-2, which leads to the guy being able to steal second base, Contreras, and then he scores. Now, I'm telling you right now, I'm investigating that home plate umpire, Hadak, whatever his dang name is. Pat Hoberg. Listen. I've watched games before, and I was seriously thinking this guy's got money on it. Either he's got money on this game, or he's got a family member that he's tipped off, or a friend. He's got big money on this because he's not calling anything for the Giants. Nothing. And every call was going against the Giants and in the Braves' favor to allow – I want robot umps now because you know what? I've never been for robot umps.
Italians, we talk with our hands.
There's a lot of gambling that goes on now. I mean, you got hundreds of gambling sites. Baseball sponsors it. DraftKings is all over the place. There's gambling for, will they score in the first run? Who in the first inning? Who will get this many strikeouts? This and that. And I'm telling you, you can solve all of it behind the plate with a robot ump.
Oh, the
Put
square.
that stupid box up there and live by the box, or get rid of the box. I've had it. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
I've had it. I mean, how in the world
I've had
call that a freaking ball or a strike on? We had bases loaded and my man was coming up, Slater.
Oh, it was not particularly close either.
It wasn't close. I'm telling you, investigate that guy. Bring his neck up. I tell you, give him the waterboard treatment because he'll confess that he's gambling. I guarantee it.
Advocating waterboarding.
That was great.
Oh my God! Advocating waterboarding. My man Slater. Oh, can you please just give me my man Slater for the rest of the night? My man Slater. Slater.
It went on for another.
I tell you, I think we should waterboard a couple of these umpires. What do you think? If you waterboarded these guys, I think you could confess that they're gambling, some of these guys. That's just ridiculous. Did you see the call, Larry, against Wins, the call strike 3? Did you see it?
No. I gotta be honest, I didn't see that call.
Oh, well, it changed. I'm telling you.
It did.
It changed your world.
It was ball 4, and the Giants were going to load them up, okay? And I swear the umpire says, I can't allow Slater to come up and maybe knock in 2 more because then they're up by 4 or 5. There's no way I can take that
up. So, Danny, you're calling for the fix? You think the fix is in?
That umpire was supposed to be the number 1 umpire, they said.
Maybe somebody called Arnold Rothstein, is what you're suggesting? Somebody called Mr. Rothstein?
Yeah, I think the guy was betting on this game. I do. I think his buddy, he tipped somebody off. And he's splitting $1 million or something. He probably threw it all out there. And he says,
Dusty Gold. Larry, the truth is Dan lost big money on this game.
I had nothing on this game.
Big money.
I'm a very small better.
Wait. Oh, wait. Dan, how much did you have on it?
I had nothing.
Nothing? Nothing, Danny?
I can show you
relatively nothing?
Nothing.
Or nothing?
Nada. 0.
Wow.
All right. For all you audio listeners, Dan's winking.
Tonight, 20 on the season. Get him up here.
Dan, relax. 1 of 162. Mark Graves, a man who could, at his whim, mute you.
Oh, that's right. Mark
think about that. Think about the Mark Graves advantage.
Dan, do you think that if there was some form of let's say, the way they're doing this live tour for the golf, if there was all of a sudden some Saudi prince that bought and created a new baseball league, do you think that there would be if a situation like this occurred, I think that's where the waterboarding could actually happen.
Oh, that's just straight execution. Forget waterboarding.
Matthew Mears says, does Kapler close his eyes and throw a dart at the bullpen sheet?
Oh, for sure.
It does seem a little random. It's like almost every game must include Tyler Rogers.
Now, serious about the umps, though. I am.
The Krueg Show donations to mute Dan or Ryan. That's awesome. I didn't even think about that. The possibility that people, not only Mark Graves, but donations could shut somebody up. That might be it right there.
That is pretty good.
That's it right there. In fact, why don't we, if you could tell anybody in sports to shut up, who would you tell to shut up?
Nick Wright.
Nick
Nick
Wright
Wright.
would be one.
Nick Wright.
And
Nick Wright, shut up like that. I mean, seriously, we might have a little fun with that because Nick Wright, some of those, the Warriors will never win. They've got Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins is a failure. He's continued to be a failure. They'll never win. They'll never be anything with Andrew Wiggins. The Warriors' chances of ever winning again are over. And it's like, what? How bad is some of that video looking right now?
Look at this. This was like today or yesterday. This is after the Warriors won the title. They have us down in the third tier of title contenders, below the Clippers, Mavericks, and Bucks. All right, let's go over here on this slide.
Wait. Show me that list again. I got to see that list again.
Overwhelming.
The Bucks is the favorite. The Clippers, the Mavericks, and we're on the third level with the Celtics and the Grizz.
Ugh.
Oh my God.
All right, but we're not done. It's a slideshow.
For what explanation, I wonder?
I don't know. He's a hater. Then we get it again. How many more titles will Steph Curry win? He throws up the double zero goggles again. Who's
that? That's who is that that's throwing up the double goggles? That's
I forget his name. Well, you know what? We shouldn't.
I know who that is. I can't think of his name though. Yeah, I know.
He's on that show.
He's on.
I can hear his voice, but I can't.
He's a regular. He's pretty good.
Another one that pissed Warriors Nation.
I saw that live, by the way. No title. No more titles for Steph. No more titles. That's it.
They're just throwing up bulletin board material for these guys.
How about this? This was this morning. Notable NBA players to lead teams or to lead title teams since 2000. Kobe, LeBron, and Durant. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Seriously, Steph can't get on that?
What the hell? Okay.
He's only led him to 2.
Oh God!
Wow.
But I want to make one quick comment on this,
Danny. But you really did. You were fired up. I'll give you that. I mean, you brought it. You had a Giants hat. You had a Giants shirt. You probably went double menin. You didn't go one swipe. You probably went 2 swipes because you knew you were going to town.
Lair, see, the thing is, we hopped in the thing and I just told Dan, I was like, Dan, we got to just save it for the show, let it build up inside, and then a little bit would start leaking out. I'd be like, no, and then I just got up until I was like, I'm gonna get up until Larry's here because I knew Dan had that fire, and I wanted his first take to be on air. ESPN.
Look at that. Yeah. You can't leave it in the green room, Danny.
I know. I had
you got to be like Bayless. You got to show up. By the way, MF says, did Larry have any interaction with Skip Bayless when he was with the San Jose Mercury News? Know him well. The funny thing about Skip Bayless is that Skip is the most easygoing, cool, down-to-earth, regular guy off the mic. He is a true radio and television performer. What you're seeing is a performance. Don't confuse that. Yeah. Skip's chill. Skip is laid back. He's not one of these guys who walks in a room and says, I think the Patriots are. No, he's chill. He's totally calm. He's totally, hey, how you doing? How's the family? Regular, normal, calm guy. You put the mic on, you put the light on, you put the TV on, and that's a total performance. So great at it, and that's why he's made millions of dollars. But don't, these people that kind of get like mad, like they're literally Skip Bayless, if he was in here right now, I'd kill him. It's like, hey, bro, he's talking sports on radio and television. He's laughing all the way to the bank, and he's a pretty chill, down to earth, cool guy.
Have you gotten to know Ernestine at all?
Who?
Ernestine, his wife.
No, don't know her. Never met her.
I think whenever I hear him talking about her, it's always like something just like weird and hilarious. Like I think they sleep in 2 separate beds. There's like a funny stuff.
Why, does he snore or something?
I don't know.
I did kind of go off on the whole umpire thing, but I started thinking about it a little bit more after watching this game, and I thought, with all the gambling and the money, it's the one position that can kind of control. And baseball obviously does nothing about it because they let Angel Hernandez continue to. They must have a strong umpires union because you can take some of that control away from the union and have a systematic strike zone, computerized strike zone. So, you still need the home plate umpire there to make calls at the plate and all, play at the plate, that type of thing, like Crawford's last night. But I'm just saying that.
Let me ask you this though: is better? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know everybody who wants to talk about replay, they always want more replay. I want that to be replayed and this to be replayed. These are sports of flow. And what the replay does is kill all flow. I heard an interview with Steve Kerr where he's like, I'd be cool if they got rid of all replay.
I can see that, but
the flow of the game needs to be prioritized over getting every call right. These people that want to get every call right are anal retentive bastards. I mean,
ban the box.
Why can't we accept any human error anymore?
Well,
I mean, is it going to be better? Is it going to be better? I mean, or is it just going to be different?
I'm okay with that, but just get rid of the stupid box there. You show us the box, and then you rate these umpires. They rate these umpires after each game based on what their percentage they got right. If you're going to go that far,
is the game better without the umpires calling balls and strikes? Is the game better if it's a little bit more true, or is it better and more interesting if there's some human error to it?
I love some human error because you know what? If you lose a game, you can always blame the umps.
I mean,
I don't know.
To me, human error is definitely more interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
We just don't want a Rams versus
It was in the box. It was a strike. It was outside the box. It was,
Well, I mean, the thing is that if you're going to do all this stuff with the box and put it on TV and electronic, I mean, you could literally have a buzz in the umpire, hey, that was a ball strike. It doesn't have to
like an electrocution if they get it wrong.
No, it just calls it by
strike one.
Just calls it by the box. But I mean,
that'd be great in the future when everybody's gambling on everything, and everything matters to like the nth degree in like 100 years. That will probably be okay. Yeah, we give a little shock to the umpire when he gets it wrong, and then he switches. And we found the incentivizes the correct call.
I don't know. It's just, to me, it's just frustrating because every umpire has a different zone, and it changes.
You don't like the interpretation. I know. I hear you.
I don't like it from inning to inning. You see guys.
Perio's human error is not interesting. All right.
I personally, I'm kind of getting sick of the inconsistency. It's like first couple of innings. Oh, I'm not giving you that.
Jose says human error is corrupted by money.
Yeah, it with all the gambling.
Now there's a fix on.
It's out there now. I think, it's pretty hard to get the other calls wrong at the other bases because of replay, and you have all this replay. And the one thing that affects the game the most is the pitching count. Is it the pitcher's favor or the batter's favor? And a home plate umpire can literally, if it's just a little bit close and he wants to give it a call for one team and not the other, he could do that. We saw that in the ninth inning tonight. We saw the Giants get robbed of having bases loaded, and then we see.
At least it didn't bother you, though.
No, not at all.
This is water off a duck's back. Look at Danny's I'm a season ticket holder. They want my next payment. I can't get rid of my ticket.
I wish we could go back and show I mean, we can't.
I could show a still frame if I can find it.
I mean, because you can look at Roger the wins. There's 3 pitches I want you to look at.
You're a fan of the automated strike zone.
I'm becoming it now.
And supposedly next year in the minor leagues, they've got the pitch clock and it's sped up the game. So get ready for your pitch clock. So if you're one of these anal people that needs to,
I don't need a pitch clock.
I gotta freaking get out of here, man. If you're that guy, you're gonna love baseball in the future, I guess.
I don't like a pitch clock personally. It's just some people like it. They said, but
I paid $150 for this seat. When is it over? Please let it be over.
Hey, fellers. So this is not. This actually just looks too close to me. It looked way worse on the broadcast, but with the box. But this is the game cast.
This
So,
is Wynn's pitch. The pitch to
yeah.
Wynn. Look how low that is, though.
Wait.
Slowing in on the second pitch.
Wait. What was the third pitch? Wait, where's the
Third pitch? Looks like it's up and away for the green's a ball, right?
Oh, that's Tyler Rogers pitching. Oh, my bad. I totally got that wrong. So what was wrong with this Tyler? Oh, they didn't call the 2 strikes.
Yeah, they didn't call the 2 strikes, and the strike they called on Wynn's.
I'm trying to find the Wynn's.
I can actually pull up Wynn's.
Mark Graves says, "How about robo umps after the 7th inning?"
Wait, do you see?
It's like what we can accept failure in the 6th, but not the 7th. What if you lose the World Series in the 6th? I'm arguing for the robo umps, but I'm just saying.
Okay, yeah. Well,
that seems kind of. I mean, to have an arbitrary inning doesn't make sense.
Look at that though. Dan. Look at the screen.
Yeah,
Looks
that's
inside.
the one to Wynn, and he's walking to first. I can show it to you live, but I don't without. Can I?
You
show
can't.
it?
It's against the rules.
Yeah, against the rules.
Against the rules. Okay, but can I? I can't even show a still shot of it.
You could show a still shot of it.
Okay, this is the 3-2 pitch, and I'll.
Jay Stamps. That was strike 3 on Wins and a ball for Rogers.
Hey, Lair, somebody in the comments earlier said they were kind of peeved that we don't see Kapler getting out there and being fiery with the umps at all. Well, you have any thoughts on that? I mean, he kind of keeps it cool.
He is pretty. He doesn't like to yell and scream. I'll say that.
No,
it doesn't seem like. No, I don't know if he's. It's like is he maybe not 100% confident because he's relatively. Let's be honest. He has a relative newbie in the dugout when you consider the pure number of innings he's managed compared to guys who managed for decades in the minors and so on and so forth. Maybe he doesn't have the confidence to go out there and argue his point, or maybe he just feels like as a player his experience was that it was a futile deal and they weren't going to change their mind. I'm sure that's probably what he would say to defend himself.
I could really go for Kapler, maybe put, getting a little beer belly going, let the beard grow out, don't manicure it, Sean McVay style, and get a little more fiery. That's kind of what I want to see from my manager. I don't want my manager to be more in shape and better manicured than anybody on the team.
Yeah, we don't ask for a lot. Give us a fat manager with a huge gut.
Yeah.
I used to love, I'll tell you this, I used to love watching the managers, jaw it out with the umpires. And it was a regular occurrence. And now that part of the game is kind of gone.
At least
you don't see it that much.
Some momentum, and at least they know they got your back.
Earl Weaver. I was there one day when Dave Bristol took his jersey off. Oh, yeah. He took his jersey off. I mean, it was a button. I think it might have been a pullover. I think he pulled it over his head, and he's sitting there with a V-neck undershirt throwing equipment onto the field. Candlestick. He was. I don't think I've ever seen a manager that mad.
When you look at Steve Kerr, I would call him even keeled, and
he loses it, man. He gets super pissed.
He loses it, and I think the team appreciates it.
Well, it's part of being an NBA coach. You have to politic for calls, or it's like. That's part of it. I mean, how about early in that last game 6 where he's like, hey, man, that's 2 flops in a row.
I saw
we're not flopping. We're not flopping. And he's like, that's 2 flops in a row. Now, whether it was or wasn't, he's negotiating in that moment for future calls in that game. Who knows? It probably worked.
What happened after? Did Kapler go crazy last year on the Wilmer called 3 strike? I
don't remember that at all.
I don't remember that at all.
I don't. I'm not saying that he didn't go out there, but I don't remember him going crazy by any stretch. No.
And if there ever was a time to go crazy, I mean,
that was a terrible call, man. That was
the right way to end the season, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those where, it's like first hit of a no hitter. Make it be a legit hit, when it's a team's final breath of the season, make it be a legitimate thing, not some borderline. You got to live with this all off season. That's why that was so particularly heinous.
In the first 2 hits of the game
not that he was getting a hit. It was Max Scherzer, but you never know.
for sure. The first 2 hits of the game, on that same token, were just absolute bloop.
Anonymous. Kapler's a philosopher, not a fighter. He'll never go out there and channel his inner
Marcus
Pinello or Bobby Cox.
More Marcus Aurelius than Julius Caesar. No.
Is the ball down by his right foot? No, it's at the cleat.
I can see it. I can see it.
Down the bottom right?
Yeah.
And he calls that strike 3. And
you lost your S.
Well, I was like,
what did you say in real time?
I just said that's a. I just
Where
said
was
to myself,
Faith? Where was Buster?
Call. Yeah, they didn't. Buster gets a little upset when I yell.
Buster gets a little scared of Master Danny.
Yeah, he gets a little. Yeah.
I better go in the other room. Master Danny's upset.
But I'm here by myself because my wife should be back next Tuesday. So, but I'm thinking to myself, we're still up 3-1. Okay. We got screwed there, but we're up 3-1. We'll come. But then when I see Rogers' 2 pitches right in the box, one on the line, one just below the line down the middle, and he doesn't call either one. Back-to-back pitches. I mean, they were beautiful pitches. They came, how his ball just kind of goes right across the plate and goes onto the corner. Perfect.
See, sometimes I wonder if, hot, sweaty night in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You're sitting there behind the plate. I mean, I just went to my son's baseball game the last couple of nights. It's pretty hot here, but it's not like summertime in Atlanta.
It was 95.
95 in Atlanta, but it's humid as hell. What if he got a little sweat in his eye?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, we never factor that in. When was the last time you actually heard somebody say, you know what, missed it? Sweat in the eye, didn't see it. Yeah. But how many times have you been on a golf course?
What could fix that, Larry?
What's that?
What could fix that problem?
I do.
An electric umpire. Is that what you're saying?
There you go.
Automated umpire.
Just close your eyes.
Would you like an actual robotic umpire behind the home plate?
No, I want a human. I want a human. I don't want no stupid.
Okay.
I want a human that just buzzes what the strike or ball.
I like the real thing. I like the real thing. What can I say?
Yeah,
fake or real? That might be the topic of the night. Fake or real?
Larry likes real, and he says, "Well, what happened there?"
Danny, I'll say it. I'll throw it to you. Fake or real, Dan? Fake or real? What do you like more?
What are we talking here?
I like real. What can I say? I like real.
Are we talking?
Apply it to whatever you so choose.
I like real.
Christmas trees. What else could I think of?
Fake or real? Yeah, Christmas trees. Yeah, I like. When it comes down to fake or real, I'm picking real every time. I can't think. The only thing I might go fake is I may go fake on decking, possibly. You can convince me.
You just killed that plastic surgeon from advertising on the show.
Yeah, well, fake or real, I'm going real, except for decking.
I want robot boobs.
Decking. You're right. I like
Pete Zimmer.
The decking.
Real. Pete Zimmer's going real. Matthew Mears. Oh, wait a second. Matthew Mears. Keep it real.
Yeah, it's got to be real. It's got to be real. So, no, it's but I don't know. I'm just
no fakers.
Yeah, rather the bubble title, kind of a fake.
I'm not into a bubble title. I have fun with my LA friends because I say to them, well, if you really tasted real, you wouldn't settle for something fake. You wouldn't get so excited with fake.
That's exactly what the umpires union is saying.
Had the Giants won in 2020, it would have been like, oh, great, they won the World Series, but it wouldn't have been nothing like 10, 12, or 14.
No, no parade, no.
You tasted the real. You know what it feels like. You know the joys of winning and the sorrows of losing and the.
You sound like the ABC game of the week back in there. Remember the jaws of victory, jaws of defeat, the thrill of victory.
The thrill of victory.
The thrill of victory and the jaws of defeat. The agony of defeat.
Chris Schenkel.
Hey guys, I have an exercise for us.
I thought you were going to say you have an exercise class you got to go to.
We're going to start doing calisthenics.
What if I said, "Hey guys, I got an exercise class I got to get to. I'll catch you guys later. I'm doing some
just finished my pre-workout."
Yes, Fry. Go ahead. You have an exercise.
So I'm trying to think actually the best way to share this. But essentially, I was thinking in the 8th inning, we were about to be super happy about Rodon shoving and Webb and Rodon looking great lately. And talking about, where that duo... sorry.
Where he goes to Warrior hat.
Oh, God. Where that duo kind of stacks up against the competition. Because, I mean, that's pretty formidable. And so as an exercise, I started writing down the pitching staffs of all the teams we're going to be competing with this year in the NL. I hate to say it, but damn, everyone's pretty much got at least if they don't have a great 1-2, they have a really good 1-2-3. I don't know how much of an advantage we're going to be getting. Here we go.
The Dodgers are in trouble. Their 1-2 is Tony Gonsolin and Anderson.
You mean 9-0 Tony Gonsolin?
And 8-0.
The whole, to me, the most overrated thing in all of baseball is he's a number 1 starter. He's a number 2 starter. He's more of a number 3 starter. You know what? It's more about matchups. It's more about, can you go how many times through the lineup? To me, I'd much rather, if you told me you can have like a true number 1 starter or rotation depth, I'll take rotation depth over your number 1 starter every day of the week. You tell me who the number 1 starter is. Give me a true number 1 starter in baseball. And then I'll say, you have that number 1 starter, and I'll take a rotation that's like 7 deep with options. Even if the options are just okay, they're moderate options, because to me it's more about you have to put a quality starting pitcher out there who gives your team a chance to win all 162. And so that means you need pitching depth more than a true number 1. Now in October, that dominant number 1 helps you for sure. Yeah. But even so, I mean, Zito beat Verlander in Game 1 of the 2012 World Series. We all saw it. We were there. It's not like it's like, oh my God, the Giants have no chance. Nor would you think that they had no chance if they get into a World Series this year and they got to throw, I don't know, Alex Wood out there against Walker Buehler. Are you going to feel like, oh my God, we have no chance to win tonight? No, it's a factor, but it's not the factor, and it's far from the only factor. And it just seems like that if there's one angle on baseball and analysis that I think is way overrated, it's tonight's starter. Tonight's starter, like, oh yeah, you know what, we lost today, but we got this guy tomorrow. Maybe, yeah, if it's Mike Scott in 86, Hershiser in 88, whatever. You pick your year, Schilling in 2001, whatever. Maybe there's certain years where a guy stood out, but for the most part, give me rotation depth. What do you guys think?
All right, I'm going to go through these then. I have a list of their top guys, and I just want you to say, would you rather have the Giants staff? Or would you rather have their staff?
Okay.
Here we go.
I'd rather have the Brewers staff.
Yeah, Webb, Rodon, Junis, $? Yeah, Milwaukee, we got Burns, Woodruff, Lowry.
Where's Alex Wood there?
Okay,
I'd rather have Alex Wood than Junis or DeSclafani.
I'm still putting Alex Wood ? Okay, and then Dodgers, we've got Buehler, Gonsolin, Urias, Tyler Anderson, and Kershaw is going to be coming back.
Well, let's look at that for a second. I would put that probably at the top. You got Buehler as your ace. Then you've got, Urias, who I think's an ace. And you got Kershaw, who's a former ace. And then the other two guys are, as you said, are the guys that are going good. I think in a way, the LA's got a nice group there. I mean, to me, Orias might be one of the most impressive young pitchers in all of baseball.
I kind of disagree with you there, Larry, because of Bueller's elbow injury. He's got an elbow.
Well, yeah,
he's got
right.
3 months.
In
that's a
a
good call.
world where all these
factoring in the elbow.
In a world where all these guys are back, though, by the playoffs.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're going to be the same.
Okay, fair.
When you're dealing with that elbow, I mean, look at Matthew Boyd. He had a flexor deal, and he comes back, and he's expecting to pitch this month, and now he's back on the shelf. He's probably.
But you also got to remember this: you're facing a Dodger team that rakes, that can score a ton of runs.
Oh,
that was kind of my major point. Was that I would think of that. That's the Giants' big thing going into the playoffs is having those two guys. But then you go down, and it's like, well, a lot of teams have these guys, and they rake. So then that's Dodgers. Philly, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler. I would take those two against Rodon and Webb is interesting. Gibson's mad.
Rodon and Webb because Nola's up and down.
I like the Giants pitching better than Philly for sure.
Okay, and then the Cardinals. I mean, Wainwright, Mikolas has been basically their number one this year. He's been pretty unbelievable. Dakota Hudson's got a sub-3. I'd take the Giants over.
Solid, but we'll see. Let's see what those guys look like at the end of the year. My guess is that group will not be intact. 1, 2, 3. There'll be some injury there. That's the most fragile group, I think. Right?
I agree. And then what about the Padres? Musgrave, Darvish, and Manaea. That's pretty dang good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
the Giants, when they face Darvish,
the Mets are the one that's the big question mark.
If it comes together, that is frightening. DeGrom, Scherzer, Carrasco, and Bassett.
Scherzer pitched yesterday, I believe, a 65.
Yeah, he did. He's looking locked in as ever.
To me, that's all dependent on DeGrom and his elbow.
Sure. Even if DeGrom's not back, Scherzer, Carrasco, and Bassett's pretty good. And then if with Atlanta, I just put Fried, Kyle Wright, and Morton, but it looks like that young kid Strider also might be a rotation piece. So
Morton's an October badass. He's proven. Morton is a guy that you would definitely want out there. Max Fried really looked good last year in October. Kyle Wright's a big power righty. That could be really, really good. But Morton's a big anchor point there. He's got to continue to elevate in October, and can he this year as an 1 year older? We'll find out.
So, going through all those, the ones that I would say were clearly better than, or I feel super comfortable were better than, would be St. Louis. I actually feel like Philly, we've better pitching. And then, if
it's the Brewers. The Brewers have Corbin Burns, who's totally dominant, and then they have Woodruff, who's a big time winner. They've got Lauer's better since he went to the Brewers than I remember him before he went to the Brewers. Peralta's a major live arm. To me, if you got to go Burns Woodruff in a short series, that could burn you. Corbin Burns is really nasty. I think he's
unreal.
Yeah, he's incredible.
And I also didn't throw in
St. Mary's guy. Yeah, it's unbelievable how many guys St. Mary's had.
The Marlins too. The Marlins top 2 you might put up against anybody's, but I didn't put them there because they're not.
Hey, speaking of the Marlins, I was looking at an article today from the Athletic by the former GM Jim Bowden, and he had one of the Marlins, Lopez, as one of the 10 top pitchers for
the trade market. Yeah,
and I was
really?
let me see if I can pull up that article real quick here. What did I do with it? Here it is.
Pablo Lopez. They have a lot of good arms for sure. If they want to move one, that's another one of those. Why? Why would the Marlins be trading young pitching? This is where baseball kind of is like, what? So why? Some of their trades don't make sense.
And
Jim Bowden, former GM, what he says about the Marlins is that they need some different pieces, and they've got a lot of good young arms already on the major league level and coming up, and so they have kind of a plethora of.
The Stanton deal is starting to blossom as Jeter leaves. Alcantara is leading the major league in WAR for a pitcher by like a country mile. Also,
Romo 2001 makes a $5 donation. He says Giants pitching will keep them in the game. The lineup is living off the long ball with timely hitting, and defense is lacking. That won't fly in the postseason. It is kind of a weird thing on the Giants, though, as far as the defense. I mean, their defense is not great, but there's nothing really they can do about it. I mean, think about it. You got Belt at first. You're going to change that out? No. You've got Tyro at second. You're not changing him out. You've got Crawford. He's going nowhere at short. And you're just going to have to live with the fact that he's getting towards his mid-30s. Longoria is long in the tooth, probably untradeable at third. You're catching, I think wins based on what I've seen as far as catch and throw. He looks pretty good. I like the way he moves back there. I like his release. And then your outfield, I don't see a lot of change coming there. So, they're just going to have to work at it. They're just going to have to work at it and look, study those spray charts and try to use their analytics and hope there's a lot of atom balls. Tyrell is the guy that to me is the most variable. Yeah. He seems like when he's really focused and really intense, his defense is really, really good. And then other times you look at him and you're like, wow, he lost that ball. He's made some. I mean, how many guys can you say make some of the best plays and some of the worst plays?
Yeah,
and that's Tyra this year. He's been on both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, one of the things I mentioned before you were here, Larry, was Donovan Solano was signed with the Reds, and he's been out all year. Now he's back and he's hitting again, and he'll be in town this weekend. I was saying he signed a 1-year
kidnap
deal.
Him and throw him in the clubhouse. Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm just saying throw Cincinnati some cash, and I'm sure they'll get rid of him. They don't need him. They're not going nowhere. They don't. He's on a 1-year contract. They're probably not going to want him back. They'll take either your 133rd prospect or some cash, and the Giants could plug and play him like they did last year. They can use him at DH. They can use him at second base. They can use him at third base. You can give Crawford some days off and put Estrada at short when they're facing a tough lefty, and put Solano at second, Flores at third, and I'm saying so long Longoria.
By the way, the Reds, Luis Castillo, who's supposedly going to be one of the top arms in the pitching market, he's the guy who started tonight against the Dodgers and Tyler Anderson. And Castillo went 5. He gave up 5 hits, 4 earned runs. He struck out 6, 103 pitches. He got the start. The Reds, they're what, they're 23-45. So
I'm dealing with that club. If I'm Farhan or Scott Harris,
you want Tommy Pham? You want Pham coming over? Or?
I want Kyle Farmer. I want Kyle Farmer, and I want Castillo and
Farmer had 3 hits tonight, playing
Farmer's
shortstop.
a good player. He plays short. You can put him at third. He's got some pop. He used to catch. Came up as a catcher. He could be your emergency catcher, and you can, if you're going to play that game where you're going to pinch hit for your catcher like Gabe likes to do, go ahead and pinch hit. If your second catcher goes down, you can have a Kyle Farmer come in and catch. You've also got that guy down there.
They got Albert Almora on that team if you want a center fielder who can cover some ground. Probably Scott likes him from the Cub days. Yeah, Solano had a double today. You're right. He drove in a run, scored a run.
I think you could get –
He played short.
Really do. I think you could go get Solano pretty cheaply. Wouldn't cost you – I think you can probably not even give up a player. But if you want to give up a player because you're going to put him on the 40 – you're going to have to make room. You can figure something out, but I really don't think you have to give up much for Solano. And, the Reds, they might, maybe it's a top 50 prospect. Okay. I don't know. It's not, I don't think you have to give up one of your top 30 guys for Donovan Solano. But the
Giants definitely could use a little bit of fortifying for sure. I mean, they're a good club. There's a lot of good players on this team. They're going to battle. They've got, any night when they've got Rodon or Webb out there, they really look like a contending type team. They've got a pretty deep bullpen, though you can't really trust it, and it's a tough bullpen to handicap night after night because you just never know. Is Brebbia going to have it? Is Rogers going to have it? Is McGee going to have it? What do you guys think, by the way, of Doval slamming his glove down a couple nights ago?
Yeah, we got into that before you came on a little bit. It just seemed like a little weird. I mean, they said on the broadcast that it was because of, frustration with, missing location. And I mean, it was a little strange just because Duvall's usually the guy who his, heart rate doesn't go above his resting heart rate, whatever sort of deal. And so it was pretty surprising. I mean, he just slammed the thing on the ground. But I don't know. Maybe that fire's good. At least the guy's competitive.
Any word on how long Crawford's going to be out for?
Day to day. He might be back tomorrow. Probably give him a rest. He said he could have played tonight. Was available to pinch hit.
How about Gonzalez with the back tightness? Did they say how long?
They didn't say. They said it's just probably a day to day thing.
His back's a little tight from carrying the whole team for the last 2 months.
Yeah, exactly.
The fantasizing about Solano is not going to help the Giants. We need long-term solutions, not Band-Aids. Correct. That is correct. But this is how Farhan operates. He operates on the fringe with guys. And, I'm just saying that I don't think he's a long-term solution, but I think he's a guy that can help. They need a right-handed bat off the bench that can give him.
I'd rather bring David Villar up and just, if we're going to make.
I'm fine with that too. I'm fine with that. A guy who's hitting 20 homers and he's putting the ball in play, and he does strike out a little bit. But I mean, I'm just kind of like, how long has Longoria been on the team? Since 18, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. This is his 5th year. What has he done?
I mean,
I'm serious. What is he?
He's got pretty good power. I mean, he's played good third base.
He's played the twilight years of his career. He gives you a solid glove. He's a good clubhouse presence. He's a professional, but he's a declining professional. So it's kind of a tough thing. It's a tough thing. They're getting the twilight years of a former all-star, third baseman. It was not a good trade, and there was no reason to take on that kind of money in those kinds of years for what? I mean, this is why they have a new regime, partly because of that trade. That was a really bad trade because it saddled the team. It locked them to a declining veteran for years to come. And that has that helped the team? I don't know. I mean, it's not like he's not offensively bad or anything.
He's not a horrible player. He's a good, solid third baseman, and every now and then he'll give you a good hit.
Like today, he did.
He came through in the 9th with a clutch hit there, but it's not like, I don't know. I just think this team needs some kind of a jolt. I think getting a quality pitcher like Castillo and a Kyle Farmer you could put him anywhere in the infield. And
the Castillo trade is maybe the worst trade in the Sabian era, right there. They traded Luis Castillo for Casey McGee.
Sheesh.
Do you remember Casey McGee?
I honestly, I blocked.
Danny's like, yeah.
What do you think of this? P. Rosenby says, "Who do Giants have that is worth watching, and who opponents fear?" This brings me. I think you might have brought him.
Peterson.
You might have brought him up the other day, but I kind of just faked pretending like I knew about it. But the Pirates shortstop, speaking of carnival attractions,
O'Neal Cruz.
Holy hell! I watched his first game highlights. Here's even like the ground balls he hit were like 150 miles an hour, and the guy is 6'7", like the fastest guy out there, and throwing like, what did he throw? 100 miles an hour to first, like, and it didn't even look like
he had a ground ball to shortstop that he just flicked across the diamond. It was like 94 miles an hour.
6'7", and he used to be. You know what made me feel?
He's got a huge strike zone. He's hitting 214. Yeah. Well, let's. He went 0 for 5 tonight.
Yeah,
let's see.
He used to be with the Dodgers.
I think he'll be back down.
Used to be with the Dodgers.
Yeah, he was a Dodger.
Exciting prospects out there, but I'm thinking Romo said to me something earlier today about
Sergio or Romo 2001.
Romo 2001, something about prospects, and a lot of teams are coming up with ones because I made that comment last night on the show, and my comment back was, hopefully the Giants will come up with one soon someday, because you see all these guys with other teams and they're exciting, and the Giants haven't had an exciting prospect since not a pitcher. I'm talking about not a pitcher.
Posey
was.
That was it. 2009 came up.
Pablo was exciting, I thought.
Yeah, Pablo was up.
I couldn't quite tell if it was real or not, but then once it was real, it was awesome.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like, I want to, and I think there are a lot of people that want to celebrate Farhan and this regime as being wildly successful. And last year makes you go even more in that direction. But let's be honest, he, in a lot of ways, is tied to this whole tier of their top prospects. If we look back in 5 years from now, and Luis Matos is a bust, and Marco Luciano is a bust, and Hunter Bishop never made it, and Sean Jelly never made it, and Tyler Beatty never made it, or I guess he wasn't a Farhan guy, but Kyle Harrison never made it, and all Jairo Pomerez never made it, Will Wilson never made it. If all of a sudden you look up in 5 years and none of those guys have made it, does that change your opinion of Farhan? And how could it not? How could it not?
Well,
right?
it makes you think, it's almost like we should get another guy in there because clearly he knows how to operate on the margins with veterans, finding value like that. But has he proven that he can, that he has a keen eye when it comes to the draft? That is sometimes a completely
different. You rely a lot on your scouts.
But I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you're relying on. It's under your regime, your name.
Ramos was the previous regime, right? Ramos and
yes.
Okay.
Factual toilet, O'Neal Cruz for Tony Watson. That was the trade.
Yep.
The Dodgers traded O'Neal Cruz for Tony Watson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's like Larry Anderson for Bagwell. If O'Neal Cruz becomes the kind of player that he appears to have the talent to become.
I mean, even if that guy hits 200, I'd like him just for stellar defense, great arm, and exciting base path.
And for everybody patting Farhan on the back in this chat, it seems like you got a lot of anti-Farhan. Farhan has won nothing. They won 107 last year, Anonymous.
Yeah.
P. Rosenblum, Farhan is cheap.
I'm going to look him up and see when he was actually drafted.
Val Ramos, is Farhan a bust?
Yeah. Are we sure Farhan is good?
P. Rosen, is it, what is it? Miss Dr. Rosen. Giants need a bat. You could have said that in almost any year. I'm killing insects, by the way. I'm killing insects with my hand.
I was going to say one of the most exciting prospects the Giants. He is a pitcher, though, that kind of gives you a little bit of goosebumps is Camino Doval. I mean,
that's true.
But he's a 2015 guy, so he's
Kervin Castro. There's some others. I mean, they've got some guys. I'm just saying, if none of these, are you going to feel differently if they go through an entire generation of picks and none of those guys pan out?
If none of them pan out, but they are able. Here's how it looks: if they trade a few of these guys and they get some solid, really good veteran pieces, and those guys do or do not turn out, that would be good. But if they trade some of these guys away and it doesn't help us win a pennant, and those guys go on to be stars, then you look bad there.
Here's a guy I agree with here. Joshua Vincent. He says the Farhan hate is ridiculous. Look at what he's done with relative nobodies. He'll spend when it makes sense. So here's the thing, Joshua. I'm with you. With you. And 107 sure buys you a lot of goodwill. And heck, they've been very competitive. I think they've played a smart brand of ball since he arrived. So I also factor that in beyond the record. Are you playing a smart brand of baseball? And I think they are. So that's another thing I like about Farhan. But look what he's done with relative nobodies. That goes away after 3 or 4 seasons. Everybody in the organization, everybody on the 40-man has been put there by you. If you have relative nobodies 4 years in, is it still somebody else's fault? How long are you going to blame your predecessor before you own the record? That's the question. And then he'll spend when it makes sense. Okay, but that's also a deferred gratification. You know what I mean? It's let's apologize for the fact they have no prospects coming, or no prospects. I shouldn't say no prospects coming. They have had no prospects arrive, really, that he drafted, developed, and promoted, and that he'll spend money in the future. So now you're asking the fan base to just say, you know what? You know, when it makes sense, Farhan will spend. And do we have any proof of that? That almost seems to be one of those things like we hope. Right. I think that statement plays much better if it starts with I hope he'll spend when it makes sense. This cocksure he'll spend when it makes sense. I think that's there's no guarantees of that. There's no track record of that. He didn't spend big money in Oakland. The A's didn't spend big money. You know, I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not anti-Farhan. I like Farhan. I'm just saying this idea that he's going to spend when he needs to spend. When does he need to spend? They won 107 last year. Why wouldn't he spend this year?
Yeah, Joe Lacob having him is really it makes
was this not the year to spend? Because you knew Posey was going away, or was this the year to spend to capitalize on the 107? Romo 2001 donates. He says, "Did the Giants capitalize on the 107 win season?"
It goes back to
they don't have fat attendance.
No.
So where did they capitalize?
I'm wondering. I had this thought today. Shohei Ohtani is going to be a free agent after next year. And the Giants, Crawford goes off the books. Belt's gone, probably. I don't think they signed him longer to a one-year contract. So they will have nothing hardly on the books except a few pitchers at 10, 12 million. Could they be setting up to go after Shohei in 2024 when all these other prospects are up? And you get
what do you even pay a guy like that though?
$50 million easily. $50 to $60 million a year because
he's your ace and he's your best hitter.
Yeah, and he's in and he brings in the crowd. I mean,
what are you about? Are you about Gate? Or are you about championships? And he's on the Angels. Where are they?
I know, but they have nothing, though. They have no pitching.
I hear you, but I'm just saying. And also, the thing about Shohei, you're going to pay this extreme high price for the Gate attraction. This is Oracle Park, and you've got 3 titles, and this is an iconic franchise. Do you really need a quote-unquote Gate attraction? I'd almost rather see them. And then if you lose them, it's like a double loss. It's like, so then, if he gets hurt, you've lost a primo hitter and a primo pitcher.
You also talked, Larry, about the importance of having a Gate attraction.
There's no question that he would be Gate. He's instant Gate. He's instant.
Yeah, I don't want Shohei Ohtani.
Forget Gate. He's just more interesting. They are more interesting. Tonight, they trade 5 prospects to the Angels for Shohei Ohtani. The ratings on the radio and the television would double within a day. There would be that many more people interested tomorrow than they are today.
Absolutely. And he would be your 1, 2, 3. He'd be in that 3-guy rotation for your playoffs, and he'd be your cleanup hitter.
He would basically honestly, you brought him in, he could solidify this into a championship team when you consider the fact that it's like bringing.
I would make a trade right now with some of the top prospects and a couple of other people on the 26-man roster right now.
So he's the guy that you would target if you right now if you're having a meeting and you're saying, okay, look, we've cleared off a lot of bad money through the Bobby Evans contracts, letting them expire. We've poured that money into the farm system. We got a handful of prospects we really like. We're now on the verge of that big investment where we invest, 9 figures or more in a entity. Who do you want to try to target? Who are you targeting? You're targeting Shohei Ohtani?
Yeah, that right field.
I might target Rhys Hoskins. Sac State guy, big, powerful power hitter.
What about our boy?
Bay Area guy went to Jesuit, went to Sac State.
Yeah, but the guy that is going to give
Belt's older,
9 figures.
No, I'm just saying, as far as targeting a big time guy that you want to go after and maybe land,
Well,
that one to me makes sense. Reese Hoskins in the middle of this lineup, big right-handed power hitter.
Are you talking about right now? Like not a year from now, free agent.
I'm just saying, if the Giants right now have cleared off a lot of bad contracts and they have a farm system that we think is on the verge of spitting out some players, they're now in a point where they don't need 5 different free agents. They probably could just use one, premier guy. Do they lack some star power? I think most Giants fans would say, yeah, they lack a little star power. All right. Who do you want to invest in? Who do you want to target in baseball and say, when that guy becomes a free agent, we're going all out to get him here? Who is that name?
Look at
Ohtani?
I mean, look at Soto, though. The fact that he has that relationship with Crawford, and then I am going to exit out of the video, but I'll play the audio on this. The Washington reporter asks him if there was anybody in the world that you would want to watch you play, who would it be? And this is his answer.
Oof. I don't know, man. You got to be an athlete. You got to be an athlete.
You got LeBron.
No, I would go with Steph Curry. They won champ, the whole team. Golden State. I'm going to go with them.
Not just Curry, the whole team.
What was the question?
It was if you could have anybody in the world come to the ballpark and watch you play. So somebody that you could play in front of, sort of like, the way, Steph Curry plays in front of Jay-Z. He said, who would it be? He said, the guy asked him, a lot of people have said LeBron. You think LeBron? He said, no, it'd be Steph Curry. In fact, it'd be the whole team, the champion.
This was Soto?
This was Soto.
So Soto's a Warrior fan. That's what we're taking.
Confirmed.
You look at Ohtani, though.
Soto's got an Otto Porter jersey. We just spotted him.
Are the Angels?
Anonymous is like Hoskins is 30 and hitting 250. Oh, sorry, I forgot Hoskins. Now Reese Hoskins is not good enough for us.
You're gonna get
My
muted.
goodness.
You're about ready to get muted, Anonymous. You're messing with the Sac State guy.
Come on.
Okay.
Don't go after the Sac. Don't go after my Sac State brother.
Look at the thing with the Angels, though. Ohtani knocks in 8 runs last night, hits 2 3-run homers, and they still lose.
Yeah,
that tells you how bad they are as a pitching staff. And
Joshua Vincent says spending for spending's sake is no bueno. Yeah, but it's not like they're mutually exclusive. It's not just if you spend money, you're spending for spending's sake. You want Schwarber at $79 million or Jock at $6 million? I agree. I'd rather have Jock at $6 million. Farhan is good at his job because he makes smart financial decisions. I guess I'll say, is Billy good at his job? He's got no rings.
Look at Joshua Vincent's next thing, though.
We're going to find out if he produces rings.
This is one that is used and can be spun in any direction you want, depending on how you feel about Farhan and how he does business. Farhan also went big on Harper, Stanton, and Ohtani when it makes sense. Yes, he went big, but he didn't land any of them. So how big did he really go?
And who knows about that?
I thought Stanton was before Farhan. Wasn't it the year before Farhan, or was
possibly? But I mean, who even knows? We don't know. That could have been all window dressing. And I mean, we have no idea. I agree with Rye on that. Yeah. We went after. Some of his dialogue and some of his follow-up moves make no sense. Okay, so he went after Seiya Suzuki, didn't land him. Went after Trevor Story this year, didn't land him. So what did he do after that? He traded for Luke Williams. So, I mean, did you see the inconsistency there? Yeah. It's like, you know what? It's like your buddy. You call your buddy. Hey, what are you doing today, man? Oh, I'm pricing Ferraris. And then you see him 7 weeks later and he's putting around town in a Ford Fiesta. And you're, hey, what happened to the Ferraris? Well, you know what? I got this Fiesta.
It's like,
what would you say about your buddy? You'd say all hat, no cattle. He talked a huge game and delivered nothing. He's pricing Lambos and Ferraris and he's driving a Fiesta. All right. And until Farhan lands one of these guys, he's the guy that is pricing Ferraris, driving Fiestas. Right. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Hey, here's another thing real quick. The Giants, we're talking about how frustrating they are, and the lack of just this consistency this year. We don't, they're up 9 games over 500, then they're down to 5, then they put it up to 8, then they're to 10, then they drop down to 6. It's just they can't get, we look and we see they should be probably 15 games over 500. I said earlier, look at their record. They're 10th in all of baseball. Had they won tonight, they would be 6th in baseball, like Atlanta is, because they were tied. So let's just assume they won tonight and should have. They'd have the 6th best record in baseball with all these, like, festivas or whatever you call them.
Fiestas. Fiesta Festiva. No, there's a Ford Festiva.
I know.
We can go Festiva.
I had one year.
What's the worst rental car you ever had? I went into Arizona one time and they gave me a purple Aspire with pink trim, and it said Aspire on the back, and it had an engine that sounded like a sewing machine. I mean, it was just like, it had so little get up. I mean, mopeds were like pulling even with me and like kind of snickering and speeding off. It was bad. It was really bad. I had no street cred at all to speak of. An Aspire, purple Aspire, pink trim. That was me, baby.
What's the brand that used to start with an S? It's like, Saturn. I got a Saturn once on a rental car.
That car makes sense, man. Remember, wasn't that the commercial? Yeah. It just makes sense.
And it was.
Do I want a car that makes sense? I don't know.
I had my Volvo in the shop. It was getting, body shop, and I had a really nice. I drove an S80, which I love that car. It had a lot of comfort and power, and then I get into this Saturn that just I couldn't get it. It was like trying to, it was
probably
like
had cloth interior, right?
Yeah, it did. Cloth interior, smelled like smoke.
Nobody wants cloth, man. You don't want cloth. At least give me the microfiber, right? Come on. If I got straight cloth, that's not good.
No cloth, man.
No cloth.
You got this little sticker that says no smoking on the rental cars, and they all smell like smoke.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously, somebody didn't pay attention to that. J Stamps, the durability of a Fiesta can't be denied. Now the Fiesta's getting talked up.
What don't you feel like if Farhan was a fantasy football manager, like what would be? I feel like he'd be like
good
the guy
at that. He wins.
I know, but he'd be like the guy who maybe I don't know. Maybe I guess you could say
he's stashing guys on waivers. He's the Jock Peterson.
He drafted all of these guys, all of his big time running backs and stuff. Let's say they all got injured, and then the guy's just hawking the waiver wire the entire time. But he's not spending any of his fab. He's keeping his fab. He keeps saying, I've got a plan. I'm gonna stream running backs every week until the big running back ends up on the market. And I can spend all my fab. And then, he doesn't end up doing it, but he ends up finishing like 5th in the league, makes the playoffs, and everyone's like, damn, what a great fantasy football manager.
Seriously, this guy, he finished 3rd, but he had Jeff Wilson off his bench, carry his lineup. And he picked up his receiver off waivers in week 4. Nobody ever heard of him. And because he saw the depth chart and he realized that it was the only receiver they had left.
I hear he's great at fantasy football, and it's almost like when he's running the Giants, it's almost like all these transactions. It's kind of like fantasy football.
Could you imagine if you asked him that question? Farhan, just a quick question: would you consider yourself better at running a baseball team or a fantasy football team? What is more your strength? Well, I like the baseball thing, but man, I haven't won any titles, and I did win a couple of years ago in fantasy. So I guess I'll just say fantasy.
Back to back. The Dodger. I heard he won the Dodger League when he was with the Dodgers like 2 years in a row.
Better be careful, man. Don't tell Tommy Pham. He's bringing the hammer.
Yeah. Wait, what are we going to do for fantasy football? Should we get maybe some members in the league or something like that?
Why not have the Krueg Show League? Yeah, the fantasy football, that right there could turn the chat into a very sour, ugly place.
Yes.
We can have tremendous momentum as a show and then just lose it all during fantasy football because everybody's worried about like their transactions and suddenly everything gets real salty. We go from this fun, love, and hang after the game to like everybody hates everybody else.
Yeah, we're doing like a late night live stream that goes to 12:30, and because of it, we miss the waiver claims, and then we're screaming how it's not fair.
Danny's making up controversies about us. I've been investing with Dan for months, and I've lost my ass. Are you kidding me? You gotta trust that guy. He's got 19 wide receivers, and I'm down $7,000. You know what I mean?
I'm on the show right now.
Fantasy football. Who has time? Mark Graves. I love this one from Mark. It is. He says it aspired to be a car one day. Yeah, the Aspire. The Aspire, really bad. Anonymous. Larry, you were talking about stars to sign, then immediately it went to an ex-Marauder and Hornet batting .250. Everybody's average is down. I mean, there's no question about that. Reese Hoskins is a really solid right-handed power threat that I think is going to be a very reliable right-handed power threat probably for the next 5 to 7 years, I would say. Now, I'm thinking that you might be able to get him at a reasonable price when he hits the free agent market because maybe he wants to come home. The whole idea of Aaron Judge to me seems outlandish. Are the Yankees really going to let him go? We could talk Soto all we want, but come on. I mean, seriously, you want to be the GM that traded Soto? I mean, my God. I mean, Mike Rizzo won a World Series there, but I mean, he'll be better known for the guy who got rid of Soto if he winds up trading him. So, I mean, when you think about iconic players like that, it would take just a monumental deal, you would think, to get them. So it's hard to say who they should target, but it's definitely, to me, I would love to see this team have an everyday player. When you watch Atlanta and you see their lineup, and you see what the whole lineup is.
They have two catchers.
They lose Freddie Freeman. They bring in Matt Olson. They've got everyday guys. They go to the park knowing who you're going to watch. And I don't know. I mean, I don't mind a little bit of the mix and match game. I think it's intelligent, but a little bit goes a long way. I mean, what happened to, I would say, at least in today's modern game, you still want 3 guys out of your starting 8 who you are just going with. Righty, lefty, night game, day game. 3 guys in the prime of their career in your everyday lineup that you are putting in the lineup every single day. When you have to juggle the whole thing all season long, like Gabe is doing, that's a tall ask of your manager. Don't you guys agree?
Oh, I totally do. And also, a story that I don't think we touched on yesterday, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but I was wondering if you guys had any thoughts on the stuff that came out about the baseballs. Because it does seem like the Giants are hitting, a few more home runs just in the past 2 days. I mean, clearly short sample size, but
change the ball again.
Yeah, Major Leagues came out and it basically cracked down super hard because I guess what they've been doing is they've been letting all of the teams deal with the balls and they, do the mudding process their own way. They do their own humidor deal. And essentially MLB came down and was like, we need to have a uniform thing for every single park. And they put in all these strict rules about the humidor and the mudding process and how it has to be very specific. So hopefully that means that the balls are going to be at least more uniform. But we were talking at the beginning of the year about how it seemed like, depending on the ballpark, it almost seemed like there was different baseballs. Like sometimes they were just dead. Sometimes
I don't know. To me, what muddied the picture completely on all of this discussion is when baseball bought the ball company.
Yeah. Right.
Now it's all kind of dubious. Now I don't know what to believe. Now it's all tied to a spin, to a narrative, to a PR, strategy. I you know what I mean? I mean,
and how many balls, different types of balls are they making, and which teams are getting which balls, and You know,
and like it's a man-made ball in different climates. It probably performs differently in different climates. I mean, we all had a basketball that was different at different times of the year. You took it out, took it out in June. You started dribbling with it. It was fine. You took it out on the 4th of July, and it was like a Super Bowl. It was just bouncing all over the place. So there's always going to be some variable nature to the ball, and I'm all for normalizing it across the board. Why? Because
I'm happy about it.
Because it's people are wagering on this, and why not? Right? Why not take out any factor you can related to the equipment? But it's all kind of dubious from year to year. I mean, when I heard Rob Manfred talking about the baseball a year ago, and he was saying, I mean, it's like sometimes it's like, are you listening to yourself, Rob? He comes out and he's like, what you guys don't realize is that the baseballs are handmade. And so they are different. And instead of saying the logical next words, when you say that, the logical next phrase is they're different ball to ball. If I say anything's handmade, you're going to say, oh, it's different ball to ball. He said they're handmade, so it's different year to year. That's what he actually said. Now, think about that. Think about the inconsistency with that statement. It's a handmade ball, and that's why they're different from year to year. Well, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. If it's handmade, shouldn't it be different? Shouldn't every ball be a little different? So, to me, I thought that was a little bit of a Freudian slip on his part. I think in their minds, it is different year to year. I think they do change the, not necessarily the actual size or weight of the ball, but its performance from year to year, depending on what they want as a result from their sport. And I think the fact that they bought the ball company to achieve that goal, I think that makes sense to me. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about the baseballs other than, the people who play the game claim it was a different ball at the beginning of the year than it is right now.
Yeah,
that's kind of disturbing if you really think about it. I mean, I'm not disturbed on any kind of serious level. We're talking about a ball in a game, but you know what I'm saying? That level of inconsistency does not make you feel better about baseball.
Not at all.
That's right. Hey, Ryan, could you pull up Rebels 444's 9:32 p.m. comment? How much is
owed on the books?
Yeah, I looked it up. The only thing they have on the books for 2024 is Alex Cobb with a $2 million. I guess it's a club option, or I think it's a club option, and then they have Disco Fani, $12 million, and then Darren Ruff's got a $250,000 something. So basically, contract-wise,
they're wide open.
On the books, wide open. You're talking 12 to 14 million. So it's wide open. All the other guys, a lot of arbitration eligible guys like Estrada, Rogers, Littell, Wade Jr., Duggar. They're just arbitration. But so they don't have anything. Next year is not bad either. The only thing they have on the books next year, they have Rodon at 22.5 million.
They can afford a Rolex.
Yeah.
Right?
Crawford's their biggest.
They get Breitling for everybody.
But they're pitching. The one that's. Let me look at Longoria. Where is he with next year? Because $5 million. I think this is his last year. I think they're going to eat that contract next year. I don't think they bring him back for a age 36, 37 season.
Dan, would you actually physically eat Longoria's contract to get rid of him?
Me personally?
Yeah, like let's say it's like 42 pages of legal document.
No, but Faith will. Yeah.
Val Ramos says Farhan so cheap he has a Casio. Dusty Gold said maybe a Timex. Danny, how's the Casio?
Doing well.
Still ticking. Look at that thing.
Hey, you know what? When I look at this,
nobody sees this man coming.
It's 9:42, and when
he's
you look
understated.
At your Rolex,
you walk in with a Casio.
9:42, and
all you care about is that it tells time.
That's all I care about.
Look at you. He's like John Wayne.
it's a little different than a car. You know, the old saying, well, it gets me to the same place you're going. Well, I like to get there in a little more comfort.
Look at that. Look at that. So you're a man with a Casio, but what are you driving? What are you driving, punk?
I actually I have a Ram 1500 4x4.
Oh, look at you. Diesel, probably, right?
No diesel.
Double engine. Dan,
no, just
double gas tank.
No, just a 4x4. I wish
4x4. Look at that.
And just hits the road, leaves all his electronics behind. He's got the gun in the back, the Casio on his left.
Yeah. So you got those KC lights up top. You got a no fear sticker of a guy urinating on the back window, maybe.
Yeah, no
fear. I was driving in Sac one time, and I came to a stoplight on Sunrise Boulevard, and a guy pulled up next to me, and I could hear the tunes just rocking out, and it's like some 80s Slayer or whatever it was, and I look over at him, and I'm looking, swear to you, right at the middle of his wheels. It was like the biggest. I've never seen a car jacked up so high. And I'm like, what kind of, and it was so high. It was like ridiculous. I thought it was like somebody busted out of a monster truck thing, right?
Was it on a level of one to sirens? How high was it?
I mean, if this thing, the wheels were higher than my Jeep CJ7.
Oh, they have a place down here in Arizona called Lifted Trucks.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So I mean, at the green light, I gotta let this guy go ahead and see what it looks like. He goes forward. He's got a super jacked up. Guess what it was? It was a Suzuki Samurai. Have you guys remember the Suzuki Samurai? Danny, do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was kind of like a Jeep, but it had a really kind of flimsy looking frame, and it's really like a Jeep, but oh my God, this thing was so high, it was unbelievable. No fear stickers. The guy had the wraparound shades. You had to be there. You had to be there.
Wraparound shades.
It was a great Sunrise Boulevard Sacramento moment. What was it? Well, let's get into this one. Well, you mentioned Longoria. Longoria's got a $13 million team option next year. So
I'm seeing $5 million.
$5 million is the buyout. $5 million is a buyout.
Oh, okay. Buy him out. Why would you pay someone
exactly.
Why would you pay someone $13 million when you can say $5 and say, hey, it was great knowing you? Anonymous
is those samurais used to roll a lot. Oh, I believed it. It was like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I mean, this thing was so tall and so narrow. I was like, oh my God, never seen a car like that.
I mean,
the Chet Holmgrens of cars.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, Tony Siragusa passed away.
MF says R.I.P. Tony Siragusa. How about that story today, guys? 55 years old.
What was the cause? Was he sick or?
There was no cause. I mean, they said no cause of death, so I don't know. We won't speculate, but that's sad. What a some guys are good at one thing. That guy was really good at two things. He was a phenomenal run stuffer, but he was also a fun-loving announcer. Yeah, I thought he was really good. I thought he was both insightful and entertaining.
Right.
I loved him, and he seemed like a kind of guy that would share who he was with the audience. And I loved him in Hard Knocks when he locked the tight ends and Shannon Sharp in the tight end room.
Yeah.
That was one of the best scenes of Hard Knocks that year. But the Goose no longer with us at 55, and who knows? Yeah. I don't know what it was, but very, very sad and incredible. For every guy like Ray Lewis, there's somebody like a Tony Siragusa that time forgets. And when I say that, I just mean, Ray Lewis is in the Hall of Fame. Ray Lewis was one of the best run and cover linebackers the league's ever seen. But Siragusa kept people off his legs and helped him become that.
That was the call-in line. Was that somebody's phone?
It was my friend giving me a FaceTime. I'm about to cuss him out.
Do it live. Let's see it.
Should I?
Tomorrow, by the way, on the show, we have a phenomenal tomorrow night. We're going to have a big, big blowout on NBA draft night. It's going to be, I've already got confirmation. It's going to be Danny. It's going to be Rye, and it's going to be yours truly. And then my buddy Frank Red, who played college basketball, he's going to join us. And then my buddy Carl Foster, who used to be associated with LeBron James's AAU team, the Street Soldiers, the Oakland Soldiers. He's going to join us. Yes.
Oh, cool.
And Carl Foster, I've known Carl for years. I've known Frank for years. So Frank Red and Carl Foster tomorrow night will join us as part of the NBA Draft podcast. We're going to start it right at the beginning of the draft. About 5 o'clock, we'll get in the green room, maybe about 15 minutes ahead of time, and just chat it up a little bit with the guys. And it should be fun. And then, of course, Steve's going to stop by as well. Steve Coccimilgio. And we might spread it out a little bit depending on, since we do have so many people. But it's going to be an awesome night, and we'll talk a lot about where the Warriors are going. I heard Bob Myers say today that, he's not necessarily going to trade that pick, and they're not necessarily there. They want to see who's on the board. I think the Warriors, all this talk about the Warriors, like there was an article out, the Warriors need to trade the 28th pick in the draft for cap reasons. Well, today, Kerr and Myers sat down with the media, and Myers put that to rest. He basically said, hey, we don't need to. There's not a huge difference in our cap going forward if we pick a 28 as opposed to if we trade it. I still think there's probably something to the rumors that they're at least considering trading it. But I'll tell you this, in this draft, the way I look at the players, once you're down in the 20s, the guy you get at 20 is probably the same guy you're going to get at 50. So ultimately, it's beauty in the eye of the beholder. And if you could get a couple of second-round picks that give you greater flexibility, let's say, than a first-round pick, that might be worth it. I mean, I might be willing to trade the 28th pick either for a future pick or for a couple of second-round picks.
Well, if they
already
like
have
your
two
guy,
twos.
Gabe Brown, they could probably get him in the 40s.
Yeah. And, it's interesting. It's a draft where there's a lot of projection. You know what I mean? The guy that you guys got to go watch, if you haven't seen him, is John Butler for Florida State, who's a 7'1" power forward. He's kind of like, on the Warriors, he would be the replacement for Nemanja Bjelica. So if you wanted like a stretch 4, but this guy only weighs 175 pounds. He's super lean. He is a little freakish looking, but he's got a soft shot and he's got real ability to put it on the deck, and he's going to get stronger and he's going to get more muscle, and he is really a scary player, John Butler. And then I really love Gabe Brown from Michigan State. I think he's a 3-and-D guy. And I love Julian Champagny from St. John's, who's just a mid, kind of that mid-level marksman. I mean, he's just a sniper. He's got like a Klay Thompson, unbelievable release, and it's just, he shoots it beautifully. So those are the 3 guys I'm hoping for. I'd like to see, in today's game, you almost everybody on the floor has to shoot. So if you're a non-shooter, I think you're going to see guys who can shoot the basketball go way higher than the guys who can't shoot. If you can't shoot, like Kofi Coburn or some of these other big men, I think you're just either going to go undrafted or you're going to be left to the very, very end.
Yeah, that's my thing with that's my only sort of concern with Ivy is just I don't necessarily love his jump shot. It reminds me a little bit of John Morant, that kind of like set shot, sort of weird looking thing. And I mean, he made a lot of floaters and NBA type shots, but they didn't always look, pretty. So it would be a weird fit, maybe potentially in Sacramento. I'd still say take him, but
how do you pass on Jaden Ivey, man? I mean, that's the one thing. If you pass on Jaden Ivey, that may come back to burn you.
The only problem is it's just like Davion it's like it would really work if they had Halliburton, but they kept Fox, and now it's like, well, Fox can't really shoot from the outside, and Mitchell is fine, but he's not, a consistent marksman. And
I'd love to have Davion, man. If Sacramento wanted to trade Davion, I would love to see him at Golden State. Why? Because you can feel his will out there. Yeah. He's a tremendous defensive player, but he has this unbelievable will. And he's undersized, and he's always going to be kind of a defensive liability to some degree because of that lack of size. But Davion Mitchell has got the heart of a lion, man. Yeah. And I just think that you win when you get a bunch of those guys is. So if Sacramento is going to go with Fox, or let's just say they go with Jaden Ivey, and so now you have Ivey on the ball and you got Fox. If they wind up trading Davion Mitchell, man, that's the guy to go get. That guy's a winner. He's got a little bit of Draymond Green in him. He's going to play D. He's going to make big plays. He's tough as hell. And I just think he's a winner. I know he's a 6'1" point guard, but man, I'd take Davion Mitchell in a heartbeat if Sacramento wants to move him.
Yeah. And then so as far as, let's say hypothetically we keep this pick, like who would be some guys that would really, they could get you really excited, like maybe some big home run type swings that, if all goes right, could really turn out to be, huge for the future of our franchise.
Well, I mean, here's a couple. Jaden Hardy, you mentioned before from the G League. He's a 6'4" 2 guard. He's a freshman. He's a great athlete. He's very explosive. He's got a lot of upside. A lot of people think he's a special player.
I like betting on pedigree too. I mean, the guy was the number one player in his class.
Exactly. He's he's listed at 23 going to the Sixers.
Look at Kuminga. Like Kuminga was the number one play. He should have been in this draft class. He was the number one guy over Chet until he reclassified. And that the big knock on Kuminga was like, well, he doesn't really look like a team player. He looks like a big project. And now it's like, well, that's why you draft talent. Same thing with Wiggins. That's why you acquire pedigree.
Yeah. The other guy, Marshawn Beauchamp, who played in the G League as well. He's 6'6" swingman from Seattle, Washington, and he's just he's just incredible. He's got great athleticism. He's got great size. Very explosive player. Only a 65% 3-point shooter. Went for 15 a game in the G League. But he also had 7 rebounds a game and 2.5 assists a game and one over almost 2 steals a game. So he's an interesting guy. He's a G League sophomore. I think he's interesting. The other Dalen Terry from Arizona, who's a 6'7" point guard. He's a sophomore, but I think Dalen Terry's really exciting. I mean, he explodes to the rim, and it seems like the Warriors are always looking for a big point, to play behind Steph. And Terry would give you a 6'7" point guard. So that one's intriguing. Koloko, I mean, he threw the alley-oop to Koloko constantly. And Koloko's on the board there too. Jalen Williams from Arkansas is a 6'10", 240-pound interior player who could play the 5 in Golden State's system. And then John Butler, I said before, I think John Butler is he's probably going to get drafted way higher. NBA Draft.net has him at 42. But once people see the skill, and he went to Chicago and he showed it, he shot the ball well there. 7'1", 175. But once you get into the 20s, I think somebody's going to go for John Butler just because he's so talented.
I've got 2 more big swing guys that may be available there. I think you already brought him up before, but Peyton Watson at UCLA, I mean, he's tantalizing. I don't know if you remember seeing him in the tournament. I mean, of course, he doesn't get much playing time just because he was behind, 4-year starters that had a Final Four run, so he didn't get much time. But he hit a few threes in the tournament, and it was like, oh my God, is this guy Kevin Durant, and why is he on the bench? So what do
you think the Warriors?
I like Johnny Juzang, to be honest. I think Johnny Juzang in the second round is going to be nice too.
What do you think the Warriors want to do with? Do you think they want someone who's been in college for 4 years, like Gabe Brown at Michigan State, or do they want an 18, 19-year-old who's going to be developed and be more for the future? What do you think? I
think first of all, I don't think they want 3 rookies being added to their roster. So I think one of those picks in the second round is probably a draft and stash Euro or a draft and stash international. Right. That would be my guess. That would be my first. I think they'll. So maybe there's a guy named there's a 2 guard, I believe. who's kind of intriguing. I don't know. I forget his name, but Wesson or something like that. I saw him in Chicago. He looked pretty interesting. I could see them going that direction. An international player, Nikola Jovic from Serbia, if he fell to them, I could see him going that way.
What do you think about?
Also, I can see them also looking for guys who are polished and ready to roll right now, like Champagny from St. John's or Gabe Brown. I mean, Gabe Brown has got length. He shot 40% from three, 90% from the foul line. He's got crazy length. He's a leader. He's a defender. He played in the Big Ten. He was an academic all-conference player. He's already got his degree. He's working on his master's. He's motivated. He's tough. When I asked Larry Harris about him, he said he's a tremendous kid. So I would invest one of those second-round picks on Gabe Brown for sure. I mean, absolutely, I would. And he's probably going to be there. So, they'll be staring him in the face.
What do you think about Patrick Baldwin? I mean, I know he's another guy where I think he was the number 4 recruit in 2021, but then he went to Milwaukee, which I think was a
Wisconsin, Milwaukee,
an HBCU. So, and then, he battled with injuries and had off the court kind of weirdness with, I think maybe his dad was a coach or something. I kind of forget, but he's going to be there at the end of the first round. I mean, he's 6'9", and he was horribly inefficient and did not play well in the limited time he did play. But again, pedigree guy, it's sort of like the Looney pick, I guess, a little bit where, I mean, a more tantalizing prospect, but it's like, you're getting him low. I
love it. I love that. He's an interesting guy. He shoots it real high. So, you don't block his shot. He's a legit 6'10".
Yeah.
And he's a floor spacing big man. Now, he's not going to rebound a lot, but you're talking about a guy 74% from the foul line, average 12 a game. Really young player, but a lot of upside. I like that. I think that's an intriguing name, Patrick Baldwin. Is he a 3? Is he a 4? He might not be physical enough to be a 4. In today's game, I think he's probably a stretch 4. He didn't have a great year shooting the basketball this year, but he was a former top 10 recruit.
As long as they make like above 70% from the free throw line, I think that people usually think, we can make him a shooter. Like he'll make like a lesser.
He was considered a top. He had an ankle injury. Before the ankle injury, he was considered the number 1 recruit in the entire 2021 class. So there's once upon a time people thought this guy was going to be really special. So I in fact they have in the mock I'm looking at going in the top of round 2. I bet you he goes in the 20s.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the minuses. It says complete ball stopper who takes far too many shots outside of the system, including heavily contested. I mean, that just sounds like he'd be the perfect guy to draft, stash in the G League, get him used to the Warrior style, and then, maybe have him come up for a little bit and maybe send him back down. And then who knows, 3 years from now, could be a guy.
I just think you play every angle in the NBA draft. You go for best available, but like when you see a guy like John Butler, who's 7'1", and right now he's 175 pounds, but you can see in 2 years you might have a 7'1", 210-pound perimeter shooter who can put it on the deck and go to the rim with incredible length, and a legit 7'1" small forward with fluidity. I don't know, man. I mean, that to me, it's gambling on tomorrow, but that's a gamble I would be willing to take. So that in one case, I can see the potential there. But then, guys who are more finished products like Gabe Brown from Michigan State or David Roddy from Colorado State, who I mentioned to Steve Coccimilgio last night. Roddy's like 6'5", 250. And he's an incredible 3-point shooter, and he's a rebounder, and he's a pick setter, and he's smart as hell, and he doesn't look at all like an NBA player. He's like he's thick and wide, and you know what I mean. He's like a 6'5", 6'6" power forward or 6'6" or 6'5" center. But then you see him shoot the basketball and how smart he is with the ball and how skilled he is now that he's not playing at Colorado State, and you see him in some of the pre-draft stuff. and he's intriguing. So, it's a beauty in the eye of the beholder. The Alabama point guard, J.D. Davison, is a sick athlete. I mean, this guy may win the dunk contest.
Yeah,
he is easily one of the most incredible athletes that I've seen coming into the league in a while. I mean, he is
the Alabama point,
J.D. Davison, and he just has hops for days. I mean, just breathtaking. I mean, this guy gets way up. I mean, way up.
Seeing like kind of like a Dennis Smith Jr. comp.
Oh, I mean, this guy's even a better jumper. I mean, this guy's probably got a 40-inch vert. I'd like to see the Chicago numbers on his jumping. He's 19. He's really fit. He's got some dominant physical traits. Now, it hasn't translated to the court. There's several nuances of the position that are just totally foreign to this player. This guy's really raw. But you know what? If you get him in like a Warriors system and get a chance to let him watch Steph every night, imagine if the Warriors came off the bench with just an electrifying 6'2", 190-pound dynamo combo point guard, shooting guard, kind of like a missile going to the bucket. And this guy can jump over you. This guy can slide on the baseline and throw it down in traffic. I mean, this guy's like a GP2 finisher. He's really exciting. So, I mean, the draft is full with all kinds of these guys that are, if they do the work, if they put in, that's why you got to meet the guys and you got to find out, are they going to do the work? Because if a guy like that is willing to do the work, watch out.
Speaking of GP2 and the Warriors, I want to ask you guys where you think they may go here in the offseason, because they only have 10 guys signed, committed for at this point next year, and there's 15 roster spots and two-way, right? So they can have a total of 17, and you can have 15 on the roster and suit up 13, right? Is that how they work, pretty much?
Yeah, I think you got that right. 15 on the roster.
Okay, so here's the 10 they have under contract: Steph, Clay, Draymond, Poole, Wiggins, Wiseman, Lee, JTA, Kuminga, and Moody. And then their free agents are Payton, Porter, and Looney, and Bielisa, and
Iguodala.
Iguodala's, he's going to retire probably. So
Damian Lee, I believe, is a free agent, right?
I thought he was signed, but I think he'll come back. I think they got to have, but I'm not sure on that. But I thought he was signed, but maybe not. But so I think they try and sign Payton and either Looney or Porter.
I think everybody but Porter, Iguodala, and Bielitsa, and then we try.
Porter wants to come back. It's just a matter of, will he take less money?
He took the minimum. He took the minimum this year. I mean, if he wants to continue to make the minimum, maybe he'll be back. But I think they could. And that's the thing. I was suggesting drafting those three guys: Champagnie, Gabe Brown, and Butler. And someone's like, "You want three rookies?" Well, I don't know. I mean, on the surface, I guess no, I don't. But Bielitsa could be replaced by Butler. Iguodala and Porter could be replaced by Gabe Brown, for sure, and Champagnie. So to me, I'd be okay if they went with the rookies.
I want to throw a couple names at it and see if you think they may become a Warrior in the offseason here, because they are going to have to get a vet or two. They're going to just have to replace a couple of them just to make the roster out, let alone, I mean, you might be able to get a couple of veterans who are pretty solid, who are free agents to. Well, this is why I'm going to throw out some names and see what you think. And what do you think their needs are? Do you think it's more of a backup center, or do you think it's a wing?
Throw some names out.
Okay. Is Looney coming back? I mean, I threw out a poll. Who should the Warriors' free agent priority be? 58% of the 650 people that voted said Looney. 42% said Payton.
I was one of the 42% there.
You voted for Payton?
Yeah.
Payton. Have you guys heard about like the site Dunks and Threes?
No.
So I pay for it. It's like the best. It's my favorite. There's all these crazy things, Raptor and Vorp and all that. It's my favorite sort of stat for kind of telling you how good a player actually is. So it has this thing called EPM, estimated plus minus.
I think I saw that. Or did you put that up on the show the other night?
I don't think I put it up, but
I did see that.
The number
way up there.
The number, however positive you are, like let's say you're a 3.2, hypothetically, that means if you were surrounded by 4 other league average players, your team would be 4.2 points per game better than better than your opponent on average throughout the league. So, for example, the Celtics were were I think the high this year at like 7.4 point differential. Like Steph Curry is, I think Jokic led it this year. Steph Curry was a plus 7.3, meaning he would the Warriors, if they just had only Steph Curry and a bunch of random like average players, they'd still be about as good as like the Celtics were in the regular season, which is crazy. Anyway, all that to say is that I sorted it by Warriors. I'll pull it up, and it kind of makes sense when you see the order. You're kind of like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel in terms of how valuable they are. 1 second.
Nick Perkins says trade up for Ivy, worth giving up draft picks for a generational talent. Trade up. Would you trade Jordan Poole for the 4th pick in the draft for Jaden Ivey?
Because his shot's not. You can't. I mean,
I think I would. I'd trade Jordan Poole for the 4th pick.
Okay, so check this out. So it says Gary Payton is second on the team. So meaning Gary Payton, if you threw him out there with 4 league average players, they would be on average have a 3.5 point differential. That's like the Utah Jazz. Like that's how valuable he is. You can see Draymond is actually a +5 in defensive EPM, but then gives you a negative 1.7 on offense. But I mean, I look at that and I'm like, yes, we need Payton. And other than the Peyton one is a little bit of an outlier, but other than that, I'd agree in terms of importance. Curry, then Draymond, then Clay, then Poole, then Wiggins, then Looney.
Well, that's an interesting stat. If you go with the playoffs, Wiggins would be the second.
You're right.
Fable JVC says, I like Jovic if he's there at 28. I do too. You gotta look up Jovic. He's a Serbian big man who's just who's got some real offensive game. I mean, to me, I think when Myers says, well, we could do multiple things at 28. I think there's a couple guys, and I think Jovic is one of them, that if they fall to 28, Golden State's going to pounce. Now, if they probably have 2 or 3 guys that if they aren't there, they're going to trade out of that spot. But I really believe that they've got 2 or 3 guys that if they're there at 28, they want to be there at 28. And I really believe Jovic is probably one of them.
Let's play a little quick game here. If Looney does not re-sign, and you're going to say Wiseman's our guy, we're going with Wiseman. You're going to have to sign a center. Who would you want? I'm just going to throw out some quick names. Enes Kanter Freedom.
No.
Montrezl Harrell.
No.
Undersized.
Jonas Haslam. Oh, he's
ancient.
42 years old. Jeez.
Yeah, I was going to say.
42? What's he on this list for?
The coach.
Securemoney.com.
Yeah. Dwight Howard, Serge Ibaka.
Look how quickly you went by Dwight Howard there.
Yeah.
Dwight Howard's a Hall of Famer.
I'm down for
he's kind of a sideshow.
Ibaka, Jones.
Serge Ibaka would be the guy so far. He can shoot the 3 ball. He can defend the rim. He's a veteran. You got a guy who you can really give you a 2-way player, veteran player, very efficient.
And
that's a good one.
They're probably going to have to sign these guys on veteran minimums, because if they give away the bird rights to Peyton and your mid-level exception to Porter or vice versa or something, or use that for Looney, they don't have anything left to give, but they're going to have to sign the minimums because they don't have any.
They will, though. But unfortunately, like a guy like PJ Tucker is not going to sign the minimum because he just opted out of his contract with the Heat. So he thinks he can get more money.
I think he's regressed anyway. Don't you guys think he's regressed?
And he already won his title.
Yeah. Here's some more centers for you. DeAndre Jordan.
No.
Damian Jones, 27.
No.
Well, Damian Jones is coming off a very nice year, and he's a former Warrior, but I think I'd pass on Damian Jones.
Draft Koloko than Damian
Robin
Jones.
Lopez, 34.
Yes, I'd be down for Lopez.
I'm not a huge JaVale McGee I'm down with.
Okay.
I think JaVale McGee's a very underrated player.
Yusuf, I know you guys don't like Greg Monroe, so I'm not going to mention him, which I just did. Joseph Nurkic from Portland.
Yusuf Nurkic.
I'm sorry, Yusuf.
I think it's just too expensive.
And too many injuries and not what
I like him, though. He's about 285 pounds.
Probably wouldn't sign for the minimum, but Mitchell Robinson.
Jeremy Grant, by the way, got traded to Portland for a 2025 first today. You guys see that?
Yeah, I think that means that Ayton,
Portland.
I think it means they're going after Ayton.
Detroit is in a sign and trade?
Or just a sign and trade.
Mitchell Robinson, he's good.
Love Mitchell Robinson, defensive player. I mean, he's a terrific.
Last couple of names.
I think he's one of the most dominant shot blockers in the league.
Yeah, Tristan Thompson or Hassan Whiteside.
I'd take Whiteside.
He's a shot blocker.
Whiteside's only a shot blocker.
Rebounder.
It's okay.
Rebounder.
Tristan Thompson, God, he's got that history with Draymond. I mean, he's a horse for sure, but I think his best basketball has come and gone, and I think he's a little bit of a sideshow. I'd say no to Tristan Thompson. I like McGee of that list, I guess.
The next, I kind of like on that list. I would go with McGee. One.
Ibaka.
Ibaka's got an outside shot. He can hit the three, and.
So that's the thing. If you want to play pace and space, which they like to do, you got to have big men that can shoot. And since you have Draymond Green and he ain't going anywhere, there's your big man that cannot shoot. So you need to have a big man who complements Draymond, and that guy's got to be able to shoot the rock. So that to me is a major part of it.
Yeah, especially with Wiseman.
That's kind of why I like John Butler, is because, Butler's super skinny, but man, if you just want a floor spacing big man, go defend a 7'1" guy who can drain threes, who's got long arms and a high release, because that's what he has. John Butler on this team, I mean, granted, they need to feed him he needs to be on the extra meal plan. But if they could get 20 pounds of weight on him, I think he could be a steal of steals. I think he's a lottery type talent who's going to be there maybe in the 20s, maybe the late 20s, maybe even beyond the late 20s, because he's so damn thin. And you could, if you're willing, the Warriors don't need him right now. Go send him to Santa Cruz, fatten him up. I
wonder if they're going to be looking at that. I brought it up a couple times. The kid that played in Australia or whatever, Jessup, if he's a candidate for a bench spot, because they got to. He
is, but I mean, there's so much about defense. I mean, you've got a lot of offensive players in your backcourt. I think if they're going to add another body in your backcourt, I think that guy's got to be a defensive player. I think he's got to be a guy who can stay in front of somebody. You got Steph and Clay and Peyton. I think that other guard's got to be a defender. At least a partial defender. Can't be a defensive liability.
That can shoot like Bielisa or
I would kill for Trey Murphy.
Here's one that would Trey Murphy I love as well. Trey Murphy's a tremendous player. I wanted him last year in the draft. Mike Muscala. Now that's a very underrated pickup. He's a 40% shooter from beyond the arc. So, I mean, if you're just looking for somebody to stretch the floor and camp in the corner and knock down some threes, Muscala can do that.
Hey,
somebody says Gobert, but I just don't think Gobert. They're not going to move Wiseman to get a big man. They're just not.
Did you guys see the news that apparently Wiseman? This is just good news in terms of the Wiseman motor and everything. Apparently, it was a decision made by the Warriors to keep him out, that he wanted to play. Remember when he went down to do that rehab assignment in the G League, and then all of a sudden he had knee inflammation? The Warriors, front office and organization, shut him down and said, "You're not playing this year. We need to make sure this thing's right." So apparently he's been trying to play this whole time. So,
well, there's a lot of pressure on him now. It's go time for him, especially if Looney moves on. And you heard Kerr say today, it's like, hey, Kevon Looney's going to get paid. Hopefully it'll be here, but he didn't say for sure it will be here. Because I don't think they can. I think Kevon's at a point right now where he's won his rings and he needs to go. Now, I love him, and I know Kerr loves him, but the Warriors can't pay him what other teams can pay him, and he's got his rings. And
what
he
did he
needs
get this year, $6 million or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, he might be able to get $50 million or $70 million. He might be able to get, he might be able to earn generational wealth. And he's got 3 rings, right?
Yeah, he's 26. How do you pass that?
3 rings and go get your generational wealth, and then Maybe you can cycle back to the Warriors in a year or two.
Yeah, cycle back and retire with them and be a.
I think he's gone. I think they're going to let him go. Somebody asked, what did you guys think of Quindary Weatherspoon? I like him. He can run. He's bouncy. He can major hops. He can help you on the glass. I like him a lot. I think Weatherspoon's fun.
You need two types of rosters when constructing a team. You need a team, a regular season roster, and then you need your playoff roster. And your playoff roster really consists of no more than 10 guys. And it whittles down each series you advance. If you notice, the Warriors against Denver, they played 10, 11 deep. And then against Dallas, it went down to about 9. And then, not Dallas, but
Memphis,
it was about 9. And then it got down to about 8 against Dallas. And it was kind of 7 or 8, really, they only relied on in the finals. You didn't even see Damian Lee get off the bench in the finals unless it was garbage.
You have more rest days between games.
Right. So, and
you're going to stretch your best players a few extra minutes, so you're going for the win.
So you get guys like Weatherspoon who would be a good regular season player, but he wouldn't be on your rotation.
You never know how he might develop. I just like his talent. Yeah. I like his ability to run the floor. Yeah. I like his energy. I like his effort. Hawk ID 95 or Hawk 1951 says, what about Patrick Beverly? He's going to be an unrestricted free agent this coming season, I believe. I don't think he is. I don't think he is.
No, he's coming back for the Timberwolves. I actually heard a mock trade with Looney.
Rodney Hood.
I like Rodney Hood.
For a wing.
Rodney Hood's fine.
He's 30. He plays good defense. He can shoot the three.
He could be a Porter replacement.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because I'm looking at that list that Porter is on. They have him as a small forward. Kyle Anderson, he can't shoot.
I'd love Kyle Anderson, though. He provides so much length. Even
slow-mo.
He'd be like Livingston for us.
Yeah, Bazemore's back on the list.
What do you think about? I heard a trade. I don't remember the details of how it was working out, but somebody threw out like them not being able to sign Looney and the possibility of sending Looney on a sign and trade to Charlotte for PJ Washington.
Hmm.
That's interesting. I don't love that.
I don't love that either.
I'm not PJ Washington could score.
What's Sacramento? I know Mike Brown would love Looney.
Sacramento's going to go after him full boat. There's no doubt.
Well, maybe we could at least sign and trade him for something else.
How about their 4th pick? Never happened. But no,
would you?
What do they have on their roster?
They have Rashawn Holmes. Would you take Rashawn Holmes back for Looney?
I
don't know. That's an interesting one. What's Looney going to get? That's the other question. What do you think Looney gets average annual? 12. Yeah. Well, you could trade him for Rashawn Holmes and Davion Mitchell. They combine to make 14.
They wouldn't do that, I don't think.
Davion Mitchell makes how much?
4.
That's it.
As you can tell,
Davion. I'm thinking.
I love Davion Mitchell.
Okay, Davion Mitchell of Sacramento.
Imagine
I've got in my head. I had Mitchell, Utah.
Donovan Mitchell. He may get traded too.
Yeah,
I think he will.
But it's funny. You look at Golden State, and it's like their off season's pretty clear. Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Green, Wiseman, Kuminga, Moody, Poole. Those guys are all coming back, right. And then you've got Looney, Iguodala, Porter, Bielitsa, Damian Lee, Toscano Anderson, Payton. Those guys are all free to go. And I would say my guess is Payton stays, and that's it. I think the rest of those guys all go. I think Looney, Iguodala, Porter, Bielitsa, Damian Lee, JTA. I think all those guys go. I think Payton stays and the rest go. That would be my guess. And then I think they'll go cheaper in the draft. And I think they should. They've got a young core. If they can hit Look, what if they get a Draymond Green in the second round? What if they get a Monte Ellis in the second round? What if they get a Gilbert Arenas in the second round? What if they get a major cog to their wheel in the second round with what they already have?
Jordan Poole at 28.
Yeah, what if they get a Jordan Poole? Exactly. So I think they're in the catbird seat. And when the pick comes up on 28, there probably will be some player that is fallen, and there'll probably be some team that has multiple picks in that second round who will want to jump up. Doesn't OKC have 1 million picks, or is that in future years?
Oh,
yeah, they have 1 million picks.
Says, Haha 1020 says, give up Guy Soulars and Joe Patini for yeah. That's basically what he's asking. There's no way you couldn't give your bench.
Oh, that's what I love that is out there is like maybe a Joe Ingles would sign because he just got paid and I think bought out. He would be the perfect Warrior off the bench. Oh my God, that's tantalizing. Hey, what do you guys think of I'm seeing Shaedon Sharpe, it seems like is kind of there's some buzz now that he may move all the way up to 5. Possibility. Sorry, what?
I picked him as my rookie of the year last night.
No, I know. It's because we're talking about measurables. He reportedly has a 49-inch vertical. And the only thing you can watch is his like EBYL highlights, but they're pretty shocking. It's just weird, the whole Kentucky thing where he just didn't play.
Yeah, that's a tough one. By the way, the Athletic Zach Harper reported in his latest Q&A column that the Warriors are open to moving the 28th pick in order to free up guaranteed money. If they end up keeping the pick, they're rumored to be interested in Michigan's Caleb Houston, Kansas's Christian Braun, and Ohio State's E.J. Liddell. Of that group, I like E.J. Liddell.
He's not.
I'm not a Christian Braun fan. I'm not a Caleb Houston fan.
Yeah, what do we?
EJ Liddell's interesting. Braun. He's a power forward who's 6'7", but he's got long arms, and he's a little bit more skilled than you think. So that would be interesting at 28. Liddell.
Max Christie's the other one.
They said it was EJ Liddell, Christian Braun from KU, and Caleb Houston from the Wolverines.
Oh, what the? Wait, so there's just no way that they get Liddell, though, right?
No, he might be there. It says EJ Liddell would be the dream scenario, but it's hard to imagine him falling to 28.
Huh.
That's what Harper wrote.
What is Caleb Houston's? He's like a late second guy, I thought.
Yeah, Liddell's an undersized power forward for Ohio State. And I think he kind of plays bigger than he is. To me, that would be a nice pick if they got EJ Liddell.
Oh, if he dropped, that would be great. But like Caleb Houston, like I don't understand. Like I've seen like big boards with him at like 90.
Yeah, he's not my favorite prospect in the draft. He's a 6'8", 2-guard, small forward for the Wolverines, and he was a freshman. He's a Canadian kid. And, he shot 35% from 3, 36%, averaged 10 points a game this year. They're comparing him to R.J. Hunter and Darius Miller, a 3-and-D wing. See, I'd rather have Gabe Brown. Gabe Brown's long and shoots 90% from the foul line and 40% from 3 and is a leader and is an academic all-conference guy and has got really, really long arms. So, I think, to me, if I'm going Michigan swingman or 3-and-D guy, give me Gabe Brown.
Yeah, and Christian Braun just gives me like, you just know that's not going to work. That guy's
he's not one of my favorite guys in the draft.
Yeah.
Somebody said, while Matthew Mears is like, Wiseman is such an unknown right now. It really is. We don't know what they're going to get out of him.
Yeah,
as simple as that.
All we can do is just look at, the whole organization. Basically, everyone outside of the organization is super down on him, but everybody inside that organization that's actually around him seems to be like, Curry said that he hopes that he ends up being an MVP candidate. He didn't say that about Kuminga, who looks awesome. He didn't say that about Moody. He said that about Wiseman. So I don't know.
Sean Devaney, who's pretty reliable, says the Celtics are one of the teams that has an interest in trading up for the Warriors' first-round pick. He said that also Orlando and the Knicks are seen as teams that have talked to the Warriors about to pick 28. So, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, if you're Golden State, let's just say you're sitting there at the end of round one and a player that you want is not there. The Knicks pick, where do they pick in round two? The Knicks pick, they pick 42. So, maybe they were willing to give you 42 and a future pick and move up to 28. Maybe you do that. If you,
so who do you think's going to be available there at 28? I mean, do you think Lariva or
I mean, maybe Dalen Terry. Dalen Terry to me is the most exciting player. Arizona, the 6'7" point guard.
Shooter though, not a great shooter.
No, but I mean, you're talking about an explosive 6'7" point guard with handle who can, really. Really, I mean, he can throw the lob. He can play downhill. I think he's an improving player. He's pretty electric. He's a pretty electric player with the ball in his hands.
You like him better than Moore at Duke? Wendell Moore?
Yeah, I do. I like Jalen Terry Moore. I think he's got better skills. I think Moore is a great athlete. I just don't know if where exactly, what his greatest skill is as an NBA player.
And I know you're not big on Nembhard from Gonzaga as a guard, but I
watched him in Chicago. He was the MVP of the combine in one of the games, and he scored a bunch of points. I just see a 6'4" guard who's kind of on the weaker side, who doesn't have a great first step, to be off the dribble. He's a good shooter. I mean, he's a career 34% 3-point shooter. He averaged 11 a game this year for the Zags. I like him. I just don't love him. I think he's, 6'4" point guard, but I've seen guys with better handle. They compare him to Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, to me, Reeves is much more of a 2. This guy's more of a 1.
Hey,
but I just don't see greatness with Nembhard. I see kind of an underwhelming athlete. He was a 4 years.
Okay, Nick J.
He's also older. He's going to turn 23.
Nick J. So I was going to ask you, of all the realistic guys we could get at 28, who do you want? And that's what I'm saying. Koloko. I mean, Koloko he gives us James Wiseman insurance. Plus the guy, he's one of those guys from Cameroon or something that didn't start playing basketball until he was 16, and he's been improving a ton. I mean, I think he shot 75% from the foul line this year. So, I mean, who knows? He could be. I mean, that's the kind of profile where he could.
I don't know. Would you rather have?
Jalen Williams from Santa Clara.
He's going to go.
He's going to go earlier.
What about Kessler? He's a big shot blocker from Auburn.
He is. I just don't like. He doesn't really have a great shot.
Ryan Rollins from Toledo, the combo guard, is exciting. He'd be exciting. Yeah. He's really exciting.
I don't know if the Warriors go rookie center with Wiseman being kind of a rookie. I think they try and sign a veteran like one of the guys we talked about, a McGee or a Whiteside or somebody that's going to be a veteran presence down there that knows how to rebound in the playoffs and knows how to
I'll say this too. They need somebody who knows. The Warriors are not going to take guys who don't know how to play.
Right.
When your game is about, passing and cutting and ball movement and body movement, you have to have guys who know how to play the game. They have to know what a good shot is, and they have to be able to play within it's not just about vertical and foot speed. It's about, do you know how to play? That's why I think Champagny is a perfect fit for them, because he really knows how to play.
Yeah.
And the other guy that kind of comes to mind, I think Bouye from USF might be a nice player. I think he knows how to play the game. And I like David Roddy from Colorado State. I think he really knows how to play the game. So, but there are a lot of athletes: Jalen Hardy, Dalen Terry, Ty Washington.
There, that he's the guy.
Marshawn Beauchamp. I mean, these guys are all elite athletes. Blake Wesley. I think Blake Wesley. If you said, the guy that's the most intriguing, that's within 10 spots of them, it's Jokic and Wesley. If Notre Dame's point guard falls, or if the Serbian big man falls, I think those are the two guys that they would pounce on at 28. That's my guess.
It's interesting because last year, when you talk about guys that know how to play, I think they drafted Moody at 14, and right before them, I think if he was on the board, I think they would have picked Chris Duarte.
Duarte, yeah. Duarte. I mean, I would love Duarte on this.
Do you remember what the camera when Duarte was picked? Joe Lacob was visibly bothered by that. They clearly wanted Duarte instead of Moses Moody. Oh yeah. When Duarte went off the board, Joe Lacob made a very clear frustration expression in the Warrior War Room. They wanted Kuminga at 7 and Duarte at 13 or 14.
Yeah, I think if Mitchell had stayed on the board,
would have been an awesome pick at 14. By the way,
he would have been awesome.
Who do you think they would have taken if he was still on the board? If Duarte and Mitchell were on the board? I think
Davion.
Yeah.
Davion.
I think they were hoping that might happen because I think they were shocked that Kuminga fell to him at 7.
I was shocked. I mean, there were some mock drafts, 6-7 months that had him going 1.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you can see why from watching him this year. He's a total blue chip athlete. I mean, is there anything that's going to be more unstoppable as time goes on than that kid's spin move to the hole? My God, he can cover like half a football field in his spin move.
Yeah. I think that Duarte went before. I think Moody might develop into a better.
Yeah, I would rather have Moody now. It's just I think the mindset of it was like we're going to take one guy that's going to be a developmental project and one guy that literally will be in our rotation.
They got 19-year-olds, and it's great because Duarte was like
won anyway.
Wasn't Duarte like 22, 23
He's
years
like
old?
24.
Yeah, 24. So Moody being 5 years younger. Imagine him in 5 years at 24 versus Duarte at 29. I think you're going to have a really good 3-and-D player for many, many years. I think Moody is, they call him, what's the nickname? Old Man Moody or something like that.
Yeah,
Eric Musselman loved him, and he just took a lot of big shots. I mean, to me, that there was one weakness to Moody this year. It was just that he's such a good guy. He's so respectful of the pecking order of things that he did not assert himself like he's going to in the years ahead, out of respect for the veterans on the team. But man, if he's going to be a key cog. He's going to knock down big threes. You got to remember, on this team, you've got Steph and Clay, and you've got Poole, and you've got guys who can flat out shoot it. And they're not going to be doubling Moody. If anything, he's going to get a lot of open looks, and he's going to knock those looks down. I expect him to be a major player in the rotation to the point where, I'm obviously Wiggins was awesome. But if you're Golden State, I think you got to listen. You got to listen to see what people are offering this year for Andrew Wiggins, because Wiggins' value is never going to be higher. And you're sitting there with Kuminga and Moody, both ready to play the 3. And there's some really good looking players in this draft who are swingmen. So I'm not saying I would trade Wiggins because I really would be against it, but you may get a crazy offer for Wiggins. You may get some team that really wants him, covets him, and is willing to give you something really special. It'll be interesting to see how this offseason plays out. I think he's coming back, but I would not doubt if there's a team out there that looks at him and says, I want that guy, and I'll offer you, this player in return. And the offers are going to be better than any offers they've gotten in the past for him. It. So will they take any of them knowing they're so deep there?
Yeah, I just think that I thought to myself that there could be a surprise in the next week or two that we haven't even thought of. Like, what happens if they did bring in, a Joel Embiid or something, pulled some wild trade. No, I'm just saying. I don't think it happened.
Not available, Danny.
I know. I'm just saying.
This is your Soto. This is your Soto trade. Wait a second.
I'm seconds away.
We're 1 year away from the Embiid rumbling.
Joel Embiid. Come on.
Talk to me next year if we lose the championship. Then and the Philly is another disappointing year, and then he wants out. Then maybe, but no, certainly not now.
I'm thinking maybe Giannis.
Hey, remember when we all thought Giannis was going to come? That was fun.
I think a trade for Giannis could be in the offing. What do you think, Dan? Look at Dan. He's playing with his mic.
Hey, what do you guys think about all the?
No, Dan, you're still out. You're out.
You're
and
out.
It wasn't Mark Graves.
It wasn't.
It was me. I basically was your Mark Graves. What do you think of this one from Nick J? Okay, you're back, Dan. You're back. We can't say that, Matt.
I wasn't suggesting Embiid would come. I was just saying.
Don't double down. When you double down, you're muted again. Nick J says, any weight to the wild online rumor of Jordan Poole to Sacramento for the 4th pick? Now, I read that rumor again. You're back, Danny. We're just joking. Any weight to that rumor?
Yeah, I think we started that rumor.
We did?
I think you and I did. I said, hey, how about would you take? It was a
YouTube rumor that had legs. But let's talk about that one for a second. Mike Brown is going to Sacramento. Mike Brown is trying to change the culture in Sacramento. How do you do that? You bring the culture from Golden State to Sacramento. So you make a big play for Looney. You make a big play for Poole. Every single time you suggest something now to the group, you got 2 guys in the room that are like, hey, Mike knows his shit. Hey, guys, shut up. Listen to Mike. Hey, guys, Mike knows it, knows what he's talking about. He's been there. You got a couple of guys who can flat out play that can sell your program. Well, Looney just costs you money. Poole would cost you that lottery pick. If you're Bob Myers and Monty McNair picks up the phone and says, we'll give you the 4th pick and Jaden Ivey's on the board, we want Jordan Poole. Would you make that pick? Would you make that trade? I would. I would make that trade. I think Jaden Ivey is better. Going to be better long-term than Jordan Poole.
That's crazy.
I think there's a risk because Poole works so hard, and Poole is a 92% foul shooter and a really, really nice player. But Jaden Ivey is like Russell Westbrook. Jaden Ivey,
Russell Westbrook, I feel like.
Jaden Ivey, well, I mean, but as far as I'm just saying, you don't need that level of athlete going to the bucket. Jaden Ivey is go watch the film and tell me you don't need this guy. Go watch the film and tell me he's not the best player in the draft. And he might be one of the most explosive players I've seen going to the rim in the last 4 or 5 drafts. What if it's Ja Morant? What would you trade Jordan Poole for Ja Morant? Yeah, you would.
I don't think I would. For this team.
You wouldn't trade Jordan Poole for Ja Morant?
Yeah.
For this, I don't know. For this team, I think about the geometry of the floor going, and because it's not like we're building something. It's next year we're trying to defend our championship, win another one, and it's like Poole already knows the system. And imagine having a 30% 3-point shooter out there with Gary Payton, Draymond, and Wiseman. It's like the only shoot. Like all of a sudden, Steph's triple teamed again. That's why we need Poole. I feel like
Ja Morant, who needs a 3 when he can just drive down the lane and score at will.
I mean, Jaden Ivey is. I'm trying to think who are the most explosive, electric players going to the hole. I mean, he's absolutely a blur going to the hole. I mean, he's so fast. And he played at Purdue. He plays good defense. He's a great kid. He's the son of a coach. His mom coached, I believe, in the WNBA, or was it college hoop? I forget, but his mother was a coach. And so he is essentially the son of a coach. And you can see it. I mean, and the electricity in this kid's game is like, wow. Are you kidding me? And he played in the Big Ten. He's got the good solid background of playing defense in a conference where they teach defense and emphasize defense. I don't know, man. I love Jordan Poole, but I mean, if you were trying to save some money, you don't have to pay Jaden Ivey for a few years.
Could you, if Sacramento was really willing to do that, do you think you could talk him into a 2023 unprotected first with Poole, or do you think that would be too much to give up?
Might be able to get Davion Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking Mitchell and Ivy,
now I'm doing it for sure. Now it's an overwhelming.
Yeah, I would.
That's overwhelming. You might have to just trade more than that. I'd trade more than that. I'd take Davion Mitchell and Ivy in a heartbeat. Davion Mitchell's a flat out winner. Yeah. And Jaden Ivey is electric. So I like Jordan Poole. Don't get me wrong. He's really fun. He's a terrific worker. I mean but I understand why at this point in history, he has a lot of value to Mike Brown and the Sacramento Kings. They're trying to sell a program there. Where the Warriors,
is Jordan Poole the guy to sell the program? No, really?
Looney and Poole, yeah, that's great.
Looney and Poole, but
I mean, figure you go get Looney in free agency, you trade for Poole. Now you got two guys who are there to sell your program in a locker room that maybe they've had a lot of losing in Sac. I mean, that's the one thing. It's hard to turn losing culture into winning culture. All Warrior fans should know that and appreciate that. We've watched it for decades. How many years Golden State has taken good picks and made good trades and this and that. They've made some great moves, but it's hard to change that losing culture. And so if you have two guys in the room that are, stalwarts that believe in you and are going to sell your program, if I'm Mike Brown, I would feel better about turning the thing around if I had a couple of guys like Poole and Looney.
So do you think, speaking of Mike Brown and the proximity to the Bay Area and JTA, do you think JTA maybe goes to Sacramento where he gets more playing time?
I think that's a great call. I think JTA definitely could go there.
And Damian Lee, maybe even Damian Lee.
Maybe Damian Lee, maybe a couple of those guys. Exactly. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, you're trying to change your culture, and the Warriors are going to, the Warriors have a massive, tax bill, and they've got a bunch of picks. So the Warriors have 3 picks. Now, do they want 3 rookies? Probably not. But what if you could get, what if you can, offset your massive tax bill by adding some cheap labor? And that's ultimately what second-round picks are.
I just don't think they want to do that. I think they're down to just blow it into oblivion. Like, the TV contracts are about to be up. We're about to add 2 more teams to the league. Like, the money is not an issue. I think they're just I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they just brought everyone back.
That would not surprise me either, simply because Lacob has the cash to do it. He's making $700 million a year with the Chase Center now, and a $350 million payroll, or even if it hits $400 million, he's still making a profit. So he may just say, you know what, I'm going to bring all these guys back. I'm going to pay Porter. I'm going to pay Looney. I'm going to pay Payton. And I might even fork over a little more dough for Bielitsa, just because he gives us a different type of player that, maybe is not out there. He's in the system. He knows the system. More than likely, Bielitsa moves on. I'm hoping that if you can, there's 3 guys, Porter, Payton, and Looney. Of those 3 guys, all of them play a different role. I put Payton 1, Looney 2, Porter 3, but I love the Otto Porter because that guy won so many games for them in ways that don't show up in the box score, because he would tip out a rebound. He would get offensive rebounds. He'd put them back up. He was a guy that, even though he didn't play much more than 20, 25 minutes a game, I think he had a minutes restriction of 25 for the whole season. And they really followed that to get his foot right. I think he's very valuable. He's only 29.
What do you think of what Nick J says? He says, we just assume Poole will re-sign a max. What if Poole wants to be the man and win on his own? People won't likely start on the Dubs, or Poole won't likely start for 2 or 3 more years. Would love to think what Poole is thinking. Yeah, I mean, you don't know.
Atkinson was thinking. Curry's got 3-4 more years. I can stay in the limelight. People value me because I'm on a winning team. Otherwise, people might look at me as Jordan Clarkson. And when Curry starts to decline, maybe Curry becomes the sixth man off the bench, and Poole can run the same.
I could see that, Ryan, in about 3. I really could.
Yeah.
And I could see Steph saying, "Hey, I'm now 37. But I'm turning the reins over to Jordan."
Especially during the regular season, like, Jordan, take us home.
And
is Jordan Poole ever going to be the true number one?
He could be.
In this system, I think he can do like.
Could he carry that load? Could he be the number one, or is he just a little bit beneath that?
He's got the moxie to do it.
Yeah, I think he's fine. Like but it depends. He's going to be a worse version of Steph, but that just means we're going to need Wiseman to be the center we never had, and Kuminga the wing we never had, and we need Wiggins to keep balling and being our Scottie Pippen. And
I just think when I look at Golden State. And I'm looking at, where they're at, where they're going. Where they're at, Steph, Clay, Poole, all shooters. Where they're going as they transition to Wiseman and Kuminga, both those guys are not shooters. So to me, I think the guy, what you really want to be stocking up on now are more young shooters.
Yeah.
So that when you do go to a lineup where you're playing Kuminga and Green and Wiseman in your front court, you got 3 non-shooters there that you're committed to. So how about surrounding them with guys like Champagnie and guys who can flat out shoot the basketball? Yeah, that's what I'd be interested in seeing. I think that's what I want to see as far as the mix.
Moody's a shooter. Poole, I think, will get better as a shooter if he learns to take better
he's
shots.
An unbelievable shooter.
I mean, yeah, he's going to get better as he learns, hey, I'm not going to take that heat check right now. Speaking of that, don't you guys hate that 2-for-1 with like 35 seconds left in the quarter when they take a horrible shot? Why not get a really good shot? And instead of, you see guys like Poole, he'll throw it up from 37 feet and he's being guarded, and it's like just to get the 2-for-1.
Well, what happens is that they don't think 2-for-1 until there's not enough time to get a good shot. You got to think in the 2-for-1. The key is you got to think about that going into that 2-for-1 zone, not once you're already in that 2-for-1 zone, because then it's like, oh, wait, it's 28 on the shot clock. Hoist, doesn't matter from where, just hoist it up there. And it winds up being some of the worst shot selection that you see in the game is in that 2-for-1 window. I think you're right.
Yeah, but I think the shooters on this club are Moody and going as the young guys going forward, Moody and obviously Poole. And I think Kuminga will get better with his 3-point shot. He did.
They're all going to. No young player doesn't get better. They all get better. Yeah, but let's be honest. Green's going to play in the front court. Wiseman's going to play in the front court. Kuminga's going to play in the front court. Right. All 3 of those guys aren't shooters. So, and you don't want Wiseman to be a shooter. I think Wiseman probably could develop into a shooter, but you don't necessarily want him shooting that. You want him running the floor and doing other things. You don't want him shooting the 3 ball. So then, at least not a lot. So you need shooters. You need shooters to complement what they have.
They're going to use Wiseman out on the 3 because he can spread the floor, open it up more for Steph, more cuts to the basket, bigger passing lanes, but backdoor lobs and that kind of stuff. I don't think he'll be there.
I think he's your pick and roll guy. He may be a little pick and pop, but he's your roll man on the pick and roll. Right. And he's the guy that makes you defend the rim. And I think if I'm Kerr, I'm like, hey, look, James, I want you to run the floor, play defense, block shots, defend the rim, and finish with authority inside. Be our finisher. I don't want you to. We don't need to run our offense through you. We just need you to roll hard to the bucket and finish. And work on your free throws. Work on your free throws so you can be an efficient player and you can stay on the floor in the fourth quarter. Get your free throw percentage up. Get used to rolling to the bucket. All he really needs is to master 3 or 4 actions and master the free throw line. If he does that, he's going to be tremendously valuable. He really is.
And the question up in the chat there, Larry, how many years will Curry keep playing? Doesn't he have 4 years left on his contract?
Yeah, he's going nowhere. He's
got at
here
least
forever.
4 years. Here's an interesting question.
Oops.
Here's an interesting question to you guys. Does Steph finish out his 4-year contract, and then he would be age 38 roughly? Does he sign a 1 or 2 year contract and finish his career with Golden State, or does he finish in Charlotte?
He's a finish line guy. You're going to the finish line with him.
I hope so. I hope he's not one of those guys.
Unless he comes to you and says, "Hey guys, I'd like to play a year in Charlotte. You know, I want to give a year back. I'm from Charlotte. I want to play in Charlotte. You know."
Also,
my dad played there.
Like 5-6 years in the future. I'm giving that to Shanahan, who nobody knows if we're even going to be alive tomorrow.
Hey, this is I think maybe one of the best comments we've had from Fable JVC. Wiseman's biggest issue to me is his hands. I could not agree more with Fable JVC. Now, he's young. And last year was his first year, and Jerry Rice looked like he had bad hands in his first year in the NFL. So I'm willing to give Wiseman just a red shirt year. Now he's had 2, but a red shirt year basically to just get used to the speed of the NBA. But he dropped a boatload of just entry passes. I mean, either he has real issue with nerves, or he may have bad hands.
He doesn't have bad hands.
I gotta see it because he has not demonstrated good hands.
You see it with a lot of big guys. It's nerves. That's all it is. He was nervous as hell, and he was uncomfortable, and he was thinking about like where he was supposed to be and all of that. Because you see the flashes, and when you see the flashes of when he's just playing, the guy's a freak. Those hands.
I think they're higher on him now. I know pretty certain that the vets on the team after that first year going into this year, they were kind of, making suggestions that they wanted to go with the vets. Get somebody in here that's ready to win. It's give Bob Myers and Kerr and everybody else the credit for sticking to their plan, because it would have been very easy for those guys to say, this is the window. You heard all that talk. Championship window for Curry and Draymond and Clay, and we got to surround them by vets. What they did was genius, in my opinion, by getting Kuminga, Moody, keeping Wiseman. Now you've incorporated these guys, the young and the old. You won a championship, and what incredible experience these guys have. And now you've got 3 guys that are like 20 years old, Poole 22, Wiggins, 26? Something
they
like
rolled
that.
the dice and they won.
Yeah.
I mean, Andre Iguodala ripped them.
Right.
Andre Iguodala ripped the front office, said that they didn't go all in this year. And guess what? Danny's right. They took the macro view and they wound up winning in this first year. So now they're winners. They're absolutely winners. And Joe Lacob, you know what? What was the line that pissed everybody off and got everybody? It was when he called, he's now Joey Light Years, because we're light years ahead of the rest of the NBA. They are.
Yeah.
They are. Look at Golden State right here. They are light years ahead. Kenny Atkinson, great head coaching potential, sticking around. Larry Harris could be somebody's GM. He's the assistant GM here. They're stacked, guy. I mean, they just added Wiseman and Kuminga and Moody and Poole to a Hall of Fame, to a finals cast that already was pretty damn good. And then they got guys to show up on the minimum for, veteran key cogs, and everybody wants to play there. And suddenly they got a brand new arena. They got a brand new practice facility. They're rich. It's an incredible time for Golden State, and they're going to continue to win. They are. They're going to continue to win.
They remind me of an organization, another Bay organization, the Eddie D and Carmen Policy years of the 49ers, where they took their families to Hawaii after every year. They treated them like family. You heard Wiggins say, this is a family. It's different. It's different. And the way they are doing it and not worrying about the cap, they'll just pay guys and they want to keep guys. And you see it, Kenny Atkinson staying. You mentioned Larry Harris. Guys want to be in an organization where they're treated well. I mean, there comes a point in life where you get to the point you look at things and you go, like Bob Myers, he could have went to the Lakers a few years ago after they were winning championships. And
what if Lake bought the A's, by the way? How in one day they would go from, I mean, really the A's problem is the owner.
Right.
If the A's were sold to Joe Lacob, I mean, could you imagine the parade of A's fans and the joyousness in that?
He built the ballpark on top of Oracle.
Oh yeah. No,
could you imagine the difference in your feeling as an A's fan? If I'm at work, I'm an A's fan. We're going nowhere. We're in Vegas. Cavill and his ridiculous ideas. Oh, they're sold to Joe Lacob, and he's going to build a new arena with private financing, and they're staying, and they're going to be competitive, and it's it would be like that.
Oh,
it would be
sure.
like that would be like they could make a movie about that if Joe Lacob bought the A's. It would be absolutely movie worthy.
Tell Peter Guber to sell off his share of the Dodgers and go in with Lacob and buy the Giants. That would be like, okay, we don't have no more Connor Joes and Michael Reeds or whoever we got. We're gonna go all in, and we're gonna be the Steve Cohen of the Mets, but we're gonna be the West. We're gonna go get Marte. We're gonna get Canna. We're gonna get Max Scherzer. We're just gonna overpay. We don't care. We're gonna win a title.
The thing about him, though, that's different than you've seen it before with like the LeBron Cavs, where they're crazy in the luxury tax and they have no assets and their team's not even that great. The thing that separates this organization is the fact that not only will we pay as much as we have to, but we also won't just abandon all of the stuff we're building for the shiny object that seems like the good idea. Because there's one thing that was really underrated in this Warriors run is just the defense and the offense they play is defense and offense that no other team in the league can play. Not necessarily because of personnel, but just because of the continuity. Nobody has this continuity. Nobody has the ability to run all these defenses. And even these past the two kind of crappy-ish years, it's like everyone got used to the flow. It's like the Kyle Shanahan offense. It takes like a year to get used to it. So that's another reason why I like it.
I agree with you. It is the system, but it's also, like Steve Kerr said, it's Curry. Yeah. It is
of
Curry.
Course, Curry is even Kevin Durant said Curry is the system.
I mean, he is the guy and that's why I think
it's never the system in basketball.
No.
It's always the players.
It's not the system. There's no system in basketball.
Hey, let's do this. Let's take a quick time out. We'll pay the bills. We'll come back with some more thoughts next on the Krueg Show.
Larry Krueger here for Telmetrics. Thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics. If you're an occupational therapist, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, a chiropractor, a physical therapist of any kind, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and the telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for all your sports injury needs, or if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, make sure you use Telmetrics.co, Telmetrix.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being a proud sponsor of the Krueg. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Dan Coccimilgio. Dan is a buddy, and he is a phenomenal phenomenal retirement planning specialist. And you can contact him today at securemoney.com or at his number 925-628-9966. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and you want to make sure that your money is secure. That is the key. Danny's got 25 years of experience, born and raised right here in the Bay Area, and he can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So give him a call, 925-628-9966. He'll make an appointment with you, and you can sit down. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a deal. He'll consult with you and come up with a strategy to get you going to where you want to be. Once again, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com on the web. And thanks to Dan Coccimilgio and all the people at Secure Money for being proud sponsors of the Krueg Show. And thanks to Tony Cassera and the good people at Cassera's Italian Menswear. They are housing the Krueg Show t-shirts, and they're a proud sponsor of the show as well. The Krueg Show t-shirt, the Krueg Show podcast t-shirt is available there at their store in Dublin. Their address is 7372 San Ramon Road in Dublin, California. And go see Tony Cassera and get yourself a Krueg Show t-shirt and support the show. And special thanks to our sponsor, New York Style Italian Sausage. That's right, NewYorkStyleSausage.com is their website. Phenomenal product, whether it's the breakfast sausage, the Italian mild, the Italian spicy, the chorizo. You cannot go wrong with New York Style Italian Sausage. Once again, NewYorkStyleSausage.com, often imitated, never equaled. And they are a proud sponsor of the Krueg Show. Thanks to them as well.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means no matter how busy you were, no matter where the hell you were, you came to dinner on a Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday dinner without sausage, it's like a church without God. You know, how can you go to church if you don't believe in God? You know, and along with the sausage also became the discussions. That was discussion night. You know, it wasn't a typical family that you sit there and you're quiet, you know, and you don't talk with a mouthful. Oh no, man. Italians talk when they're eating. Italians even talk when they're sleeping. And definitely we talk with our hands. So if we can't express it through our mouth, through our lips, we express it with our hands. So, and that's what sausage is, really. It's an expression, you know, that life is good.
All right, welcome back to the Krueg Show. I'm Larry Krueger. That's Ryan Smith. His dog Ringo. That's Dan Coccimilgio eating cereal. We're 3 hours and 13 minutes into our live stream after Giants baseball. The Giants and the Braves tonight in Atlanta. An exciting game that went back and forth. You know, it's funny. The Giants. What can you say about the Giants and the Braves? It's like, to me, I can watch the Giants play the Braves almost every night because I like seeing you know, the Braves hit the ball. I mean, it's a fun yard to watch. It seems like a good atmosphere, and you know, I like seeing runs. I like seeing offense. So anytime you can get Giants and Braves together, I like it.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for them, and this is kind of a really fun series because it's the first time. I don't know. It kind of almost feels like, hey, we'll see you guys later. We'll see you down the line. Doesn't it kind of feel like that? It's like all three of these games have been just down to the wire and super even. I mean, God, Webb and Rodon pitched their asses off, and you know, then we picked up. I mean, mashing home runs yesterday. So yeah, I mean, I just really hope we come out and get the dub tomorrow. Tomorrow? Are we going to do a post game right after, or I kind of forget?
No, tomorrow we're doing a 5 o'clock live stream on the NBA draft.
I'm coming on right after the game if they lose to give a big rant. I'm just gonna lose it again. No, I was funny because Pasquale says we definitely talk with our hands, and when you replayed that, Ryan, of me going crazy, I was like,
yeah.
Giants game tomorrow is 9:20 in the morning. Alex Wood and Kyle Wright. So it's going to end right around noon, 1 o'clock. But we won't come on then. We'll be with you after at 5 o'clock for our NBA draft coverage. We'll do a live stream. Ryan, Dan, myself, my buddy Frank Red, Carl Foster, and all of you in the chat. We'll talk a lot of NBA basketball tomorrow night. Steve Coccimilgio is going to stop by. We'll get Steve's thoughts on some of the players as well. Should be a fun show. I think it probably is going to go, 2-3 hours, I would guess, right? The draft, 5 to about 8, something like that.
Yeah. That's what I had tonight, Larry. Look at that.
Look at that. Little frosted flakes.
I changed up.
Organic, though. Organic from Sprouts. Danny shops at Sprouts.
Yeah, cane. Organic cane.
My wife would love you. She loves Sprouts. She's always going to Sprouts.
Yeah, it's a great place.
There's a lot
great about Sprouts is they've got those what do they call those bulk items, that you can load up.
Bulk items?
Yeah, where you get, you
wholesale.
You pick up your the little scooper and you scoop up what you want. They've got all kinds of different things, but they allow for samples. So I love the white peanut cluster caramel.
Mark Graves says, don't bring up politics, religion, and sausage at the dinner table. There you go. Nick J drops this one. At 28, the Warriors select Monster Slam. We're getting close to Monster Slam. You guys got a final thought on the night or a look ahead to tomorrow? What jumps out at you?
Excited for some early morning wood.
Yeah, that's kind of fun to get up and all of a sudden you got a ball game. You don't even
all of a sudden you got wood right in the second you wake up.
Hopefully they got
tune in early because wood moves fast.
Hopefully it's wood and wood, not just.
Excuse me now. Hey now.
I mean, get the bat on the ball and have Alex Wood pitch well.
Val Ramos says, "Good night, guys." It's like the
Val, did you say hello to Elliot?
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Mary Ellen.
Hey, Val, say hello to Elliot for us.
It's time for the Monster Slam. Let's see.
I got nothing else to do tonight. Let's see. What else can we do? No. I wanted to say.
You have more, but wait, there's more.
Where's Buster?
Oh, Buster. He just came in.
Yeah, where is Buster?
He just came in. Hey, Buster. There's calling for you. Sit. You want to do your take it tonight? Here, I got one for you right here.
I'm not very good at it.
Okay, come on.
We need better camera work.
I know. This is shoddy.
Look at Buster. Buster backs away from the camera knowing he can frame himself in the perfect shot.
And he didn't even eat his food all tonight. Look at his bowl over there. He didn't finish.
You know what? The only thing I can show off with Ringo is he's just an excellent catcher.
All right. Here's the treat. Buster, leave it.
Leave it.
Watch this.
Look at Faith. Faith is going to take it.
I'm going to stick it. Hey, I said leave it.
Buster was going to take it.
Hey, get out of here. Leave it.
Look at the discipline of Buster.
He says, I usually don't.
Oh, look at Ringo. Ringo making catches.
Faith.
Oh, Faith just stole the tree.
Go ahead. Faith,
Ringo's got elite ball skills.
All right.
He's like, Ringo's like Crabtree.
Watch this. Watch this.
Throw the fade. Let's see if Ringo can catch the fade.
No look.
Look at that.
Hang on.
Look at that.
He's got hands.
Oh,
Ringo.
Wow. Hey,
Danny, can Faith or Buster catch anything?
Faith's kind of like.
Do you have anything you can toss them to see if they have any kind of hand-eye?
If Buster can catch
any kind of paw-eye coordination.
Paw-mouth coordination.
Yeah, hold on.
What kind of? Look at this.
Throw it up. Oh, we got some TV on there. Okay, here we go. All right, so here we go. Buster, we're gonna.
You watching Kimmel?
It was just on from the hockey game. I never changed the channel. ABC. I don't
look at Danny making excuses for why Kimmel's on.
Who is that? I don't watch late night. I don't know who this host is. Who is that?
Oh, look at that, Ringo.
That's the no look Ringo. That's the we got great chemistry.
Okay, here we go, Buster. We're gonna throw a pop up. Here we go. He got it.
Oh, look at that.
Good job.
Buster didn't even have to move.
Yeah, put you out in center field.
All right, off now.
Maybe Ringo and Buster can be in the lineup in the outfield tomorrow for the Giants.
Mark Graves says Faith's self-esteem must be at a low point. We're all talking Buster.
Well, Faith is.
Look at Ringo. Just keeps making catch after catch after catch.
That's all he does.
Faith, you're a good girl. You're a good girl. Here.
All right. It's time for the Monster Slam, fellas.
There you go.
All right.
He's going to drive to the hoop again. He kicks it out to Wiggins. Wiggins
Kicks it out to Ringo.
Goes in for a monster slam. Oh, no. They're calling it an offensive foul. No way.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Careful, whatever you bring me getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to hassle. Yeah, we ain't never fall back. Hold our ground where we at.